Two couples on a cross country tour of macabre roadside attractions run afoul of the sadistic Firefly family in the back roads of Texas in 1977. Four innocent travelers are tortured, hunted, and ultimately butchered by a family of psychopaths in what should be a horrifying, unwatchable situation. But you add in a ton of black comedy and a Rob Zombie soundtrack, and you get House of a Thousand Corpses. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre,
And Caleb J.
and this is Filmgazm. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to the Filmgazm podcast. Today, we're finally tackling the one and only Rob Zombie and his directorial debut, House of a Thousand Corpses. Zombie's work is definitely not for everybody, but he doesn't give a fuck. He makes the movies he wants to make. And while his films might not be, masterpieces to me anyway, he does, he does his own thing and he's proud of it and people love him for it. So all the respect.
Yes. I think his first two. Well, this one's a near masterpiece. I think Devil's Rejects is an absolute masterpiece. Um, yeah, it because obviously any horror fan knows you go online anytime a film of his is coming out or if his name's even mentioned outside of music, and it's like the floodgates open, people don't shut up. Um, but it's like you said, when you watch a Rob Zombie film, you know you're watching a Rob Zombie, even with the monsters and it being obviously tame, family friendly. You still know you're watching a Rob Zombie film. Where it's his type of style he goes for, the actors he uses, the like you said, the not giving a fuck what people think, just making the movie he wants to make and doing whatever it takes to get it done, especially in some of his more recent efforts. Um, when he was facing, certain challenges in the case of like having to crowdfund 31, Sid Haig's sickness and untimely death with Three from Hell.
Well, with when I was putting together the story of House of a Thousand Corpses, I definitely began to notice a trend in how he has to get his films made. It's never easy for him. There's always pushback. There's always a studio that backs out. There's always a lack of funds. It's always something, but he keeps doing it. I admire that. I admire somebody who just keeps fighting for something he wants his way. That's admirable.
Yeah, no, I have absolute respect for that because he could easily just be like, well, if anyone knows his career, he's a very successful musical artist. Also, he could easily fall back on that and be like, well, I'll just keep doing music then because I'm making plenty of money. He's still selling out stadiums to this day. Um, but he doesn't. He divides his time between the music and movies and the other stuff. He's done comics and things like that. He's done some other stuff. He's done a haunt now, the Great American Nightmare, I believe is what it's called. Um, so it's he just wants to do all this stuff. Like I said, he pushes himself through all this stuff. I think the most freedom he's ever had was the brief period from like Devil's Rejects to his Halloween films and specifically Halloween 2, because I think there was a lot of restrictions placed on them on the first Halloween. Whereas Halloween 2, they said just do what the fuck you want. Um, that was probably the most freedom he ever got. And then besides that, it's like you said, it's been him having to face some kind of issue. But for me personally, like Devil's Rejects, especially in House Thousand Corpses, we talked about it before when we did our countdown, that came out in the early 2000s, that torture porn era of horror, the remake era, the J horror craze era. There's like three different things happening at one time in that at that point in horror. So it was and I was a teenager, so it was a very influential year on me. And the fact that I was getting into heavy metal music and I was discovering who he was as a musician, and then finding his movies and hearing about. I remember Devil's Rejects was like that movie. It came out in 2005, so I was still in like elementary, middle school when it came out. Um, and like I remember it being talked about at school, like you guys want this movie so fucked up. I watched it with my older brother, like it was just talked about because of how fucked up it was. And then finally watching it and just being blown away by like, what is this movie? Um, he had a very big impact on the type of horror I like and what I enjoy, and just being one of my just favorite directors, favorite musical artists working.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know this guy's pretty sacred to you. I I think I watched The Devil's Rejects around the same time, my uncle had it, and he had that. He was very much like, you're not gonna believe this thing. This thing is disturbing. Do not watch this with your mom. And I watched it, and I was just like, God. I had like the opposite reaction you had of like, what is this? But not in a positive way. I was very much like, I don't want to see this. This is gross. This is disgusting. It's fucked up. I don't. I really, really don't care for rape scenes. And that one, god damn. Uh,
It's not. That's not a rape scene. Oh, you're talking about with the gun, with the pistol?
yeah,
Oh, okay, yeah.
the rape scene.
Oh, yeah. So I was saying your quote unquote standard rape scene. I was like, oh wait, the scene when he puts the gun down there. Yeah.
Ah, buddy. Okay. Yeah. We're gonna have a talk later. Um,
I was thinking like Last House on the Left, like fucking, Hell's Have. I'm like,
yeah.
it's not a rape. And I was like, oh wait, yeah, the gun. That's right, the gun.
Yeah. It's just so over the top grisly, but it does have something that's, weirdly cinematic. And like the ending where, with Freebird playing and like the epic gun down, like that was some quality filmmaking. That was exciting. And I feel like it kind of got erased by Three from Hell.
But yep, I'm not going to talk about that.
Yeah. But other than that, I've seen his Halloween films, and I thought they were okay. And then I saw Lords of Salem, which I didn't really care for. So I haven't really embraced his work as like, you know, a fan of his films. I love his music, but I'm not really a fan of his movies. And yeah, sorry. I'm gonna keep checking out the ones I haven't seen. I'm gonna hope I find something, but honestly, it's not my kind of movie. It's just not my scene.
Yeah, you've been real disappointing for in that regard.
You knew that. This is not a surprise.
It's so disappointing to hear. Oh God, you suck. Um, but yeah, no, I want to save Devil's Reach because we're going to do that one down the line. Obviously, I don't. But there's a lot he does with that just I like I said that ending and everything I like that he does with that film is he makes you for a minute, even with that grisly fucking motel scene with the rape and what they're doing, for a split second towards the end of how he has it playing, you feel like the tiniest amount of sympathy when the cops like doing his shit to them and you're like, oh shit, I kind of want them to get out of this. And you're like, wait a minute, these are the bad guys. What the fuck? I'm not
Yeah.
I shouldn't be doing this. And that's what I like the movie kind of blows me right in that regard where I'm like, I just saw them do some heinous shit, and here I am like being like, God, get out of that, get out, like, oh fuck.
Yeah, that was an interesting rug pull. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. But then, like I said, he stays true to me the story by saying, well, they're not going to live. And then of course we got Three from Hell. But
did he have a lot more creative freedom with the Devil's Rejects?
Yeah.
I thought so, because it definitely feels more like the movie he wanted to make. House of a Thousand Corpses it definitely feels like a Rob Zombie movie, but it definitely feels held back.
This was the movie. So this was the movie he wanted to make, was House of a Thousand Corpses. He had creative control. It was originally rated X, so it was a lot more gory, lot more brutal. Like it was just more. And then I think they got down to like it was like X and then NC-17. They finally were able to get down there an R rating.
Well, and also like, very few filmmakers' first movie is like, their magnum opus. It doesn't always happen. They gotta figure out how to be the filmmaker they want to be as they go along. So Zombie was, no different. Devil's Rejects definitely feels like a step up from House of a Thousand Corpses. The problem is he never really stepped up from there again. It was kind of just like stepping on the same level and then kind of just going down.
Yeah, I mean, I know for some people the two things people bring up a lot is his writing. He writes a certain type of character, and then get the casting sharing Mizami, which yeah, okay, to an extent I get it, okay, but at the same time, playing devil's advocate for a second, every writer has a certain type of character they write. Zombies just happens to be extraordinarily in your face, aggressive redneck, abrasive human beings. And I would challenge that if you know about how he grew up in a carnival setting because of what his parents did for a living, that is probably what he was surrounded by as a kid growing up. So that's what he knows. And that's why he writes that. As I'm not saying anything bad about anyone who works in that kind of industry and all that stuff. I'm saying that he was probably, a lot of times people write off things they know. So if that's the case, if we're going by that logic, what kind of people was he surrounded by growing up? You know what I mean? To write these types of characters. Again, just playing devil's advocate, and I'm not going to sit there and say anyone who doesn't like his writing is wrong. Like, I get it, I understand. And as far as the Shady Mizami thing, I don't know what's the bitch about that. And no, obviously she's not like Helen Bonham Carter with Tim Burton or Leonardo DiCaprio with Scorsese. I don't think she's a terrible actress though, and if he wants to keep casting her in his fucking movies, he has that right. Like at this point, we're on a movie like I think The Monsters should be like the 8th or 7th film from him. Like he's going to keep doing it. There's no sense in crying foul at this point. Just shut the fuck up. Just stop. Like he's not going to change. He's been doing it since movie 1. It's not going to go away.
Yeah, he's got his style, and people can like that or not like it. I just I I don't really. I think it's kind of gross. I never feel comfortable watching a Rob Zombie movie, and that's just my preferences. I'm not going to attack the guy. I'm not going to attack his career. Again, I want to say I have nothing but respect for the man. His movies just aren't my taste.
Yeah, it's just because you're just too good for it. I'm just kidding. I don't give me that look. Do not give me that look. I will say though, as far as his career, like outside of like obviously himself with his writing and the two things that people love to bring up, right? Because I do think directing wise, you can't. I actually will argue with anyone that tries to say he's a bad director. I think the man knows how to fucking direct the shit out of any film he's done. I think what happened a lot with him, like post Devil's Rejects, right? Like, he obviously he had the key, he had a lot more freedom with that, and they didn't really mess with him on the rating and stuff as much. And it was coming out at a time when very extreme violence was getting put into mainstream cinema. Your Sauls, your Hospitals and stuff were coming out. So there was probably less pushback to get it like rated. I think most of the pushback on the ratings had to do with the fucking motel sequence. That was a hit. Like I said, always it's like I've been saying, right? Say what you will about Zombie, he made his legacy in horror film with The Devil's Rejects and to an extent House 1000 Corpses. But after that, he got essentially keys to the kingdom for a second, right? Like, hey, this is someone to look out for. Like, he's becoming a big hit, not just with music, but with films now. And so when it came time to remake, because what was happening at this time also, the remake craze, he was the one to say, yes, I'll take on Halloween. And, he has been very public about certain Mr. Used to Be Grumpy Pants, John Carpenter, hanging the phone up on him, just yeah, good luck with that. And boom, I'm like, I get it, John, but you could have been a little more tactile there, buddy.
I wonder if some of it's like I wonder. I'm not saying this at all. I'm just saying I wonder if in some circles there's this vibe of like, what are you doing here? Like, you're a rock star. Like, why are you in my industry? So I wonder if like a lot of people just don't take him seriously because of that.
And that's what I've wondered, because it was weird because Halloween, again, I'm kind of with you. I kind of have my issues with that his first Halloween film. I like it for the most part, but there's things I don't like. It was a hit though. It held on to like some kind of like Labor Day weekend record for like the longest time. It finally got beat, I think this year or last year. And so they were like, okay, cool, Halloween 2 then, man, come back. And he came back, and then the reception to Halloween 2, and to this day, not the best. Even though now all of you fuckers are coming out of the woodwork saying, oh no, we like the Rob Zombie films. Yeah, because you got Halloween Ends, huh? Now it's become a new fucking tune, apparently.
Andrew Garfield and Rob Zombie should start a Where the Fuck Were You club.
Yeah, right. The amount of posts I've seen where I was like, man, we really wrote Rob Zombie an apology. I'm like, what the fuck, you motherfuckers? I'm like, look, say what you want about Rob Zombie's films, but I mean, and look, I know you liked it more than I did, but at least he gave me Michael Myers killing people the whole movie. God damn it. God damn it. But either way, facts. That didn't do too great, and it seemed like at that point it just seemed like he never got his chance again at like a big mainstream film, right? He did. No one talks about it. It seems to be forgotten, even though I fucking stand by it. The Haunted World of El Super Beasto, which was like he had to kind of release on his own, do it on his own to get out. Lois of Salem was very indie, which that's I'm opposite of you. I actually quite enjoy that one, but it was very indie, very much like festival circuit type thing. Like I said, he got to the point where like a studio, I guess, wasn't backing. I don't know what the fuck happened 31, but he had to crowdfund it to get what he wanted done. Three from Hell, he had to rewrite the script because of Sid Haig's health and subsequent passing. And now, with the monsters, he finally technically got carte blanche to do what the fuck he wants with the monsters. But it wasn't a theatrical release, it was put on Netflix, blah, blah, all that stuff. It's just he hasn't ever since gotten that, and it's kind of a shame for a while around the Devil's Rejects Halloween time. I remember him talking about trying to do like a Groucho Marx movie because he's a big Groucho Marx fan. And him trying to do this thing called Tyrannosaurus Rex, which is this crazy ass action film he had in mind, and all this stuff. And it just seemed like once the Halloween 2, especially, and to an extent Halloween reception hit, it's like all that shit just disappeared.
Yeah, it's a shame. If you don't play ball the right way, if you don't have success the way that studios measure success, you don't have it at all. And that's unfortunate. Some people lose big projects that way. Watching this, I thought, like, I'm surprised no one ever, like, did he ever pursue a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie? Because that seemed like what he was born to do.
No, he didn't. You're right. I would love for him to do that. But I also wonder if after the reaction to Halloween, if he's even interested in remaking something. Mm-hmm. And now, I mean, we saw the fucking hype up to the monsters. Granted, it looked like it had a turnaround upon release, and I know it was looked like it was a hit for Netflix. But even then, that was like people just want to shut up. So I wonder if he's like trepidatious about approaching a remake again.
Well, now you've got Texas Chainsaw and Rob Zombie both at Netflix. So
maybe Netflix becomes the home that actually loves him.
Maybe maybe they give him a big like skin made blanket and cup of cocoa and say like, we're here for you, Rob.
We know they hurt you out there. We're here for you.
Rian Johnson like welcomes him in. It's like, it's Netflix, man. Mike Flanagan's like, come on in. It's just all these filmmakers are like, we're here for you. It's nice and safe in here.
Snyder starts to open the door. Get back in there, Snyder. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just I do feel bad for the compromises he's had to make. Because I feel like he has, to me, he has a name that oozes clout and like horror and metal, and he's just this epic, awesome force of nature. But in the film industry, he's just I think people like are spitting on him.
That's what it feels like. And it's weird because I do remember when, as a kid, Devil's Rejects, like everyone was talking positively about it. And they're like, holy shit. Like Rob Zombie, man, first it was like, oh my God, he has house. And now he gave us this. Oh my God. Like people were losing their fucking minds. Like, man, he did it. He made the transition and it did a complete 180.
I do think you can blame Halloween. And I wonder if the same thing's going to happen to David Gordon Green.
I do. Well, yeah, I would say it wouldn't if it was just a 2018 Halloween, but boy, did he piss off
twice.
Twice. And I was actually someone that I didn't hate kills. No, I am in the camp that does not like ends, but yeah, he fucking wowed the fan base big time.
I liked all three, but horror fans do not forgive and they don't forget. So now I'm wondering, like, is Green going to lose that Exorcist trilogy? Like, what's going to happen with this?
I hate to be that guy, but I don't trust him with Exorcist after sitting through his closer to fucking Halloween trilogy.
Boy.
What, am I going to get a fucking Exorcist movie where they don't get possessed for like 2 hours until the final 10 minutes and go, yeah, see, look, we gave you what we advertised. Yeah, in the final 10 minutes, you assholes.
I mean, that is kind of Exorcist 3, but I get your point.
Exorcist 3, though, that was a compromise that had to be made. Speaking of Rob Zombie, compromise that had to be made. He didn't want that shit.
Yeah, and he made his own version, Legion, which has no exorcism, as is the book.
Exactly. And if you buy the Screen Factory edition, it has both copies. It has
I
both
know.
versions.
I bought it. Uh, but yeah, Rob Zombie. I'm glad we were able to, and we've teased Zombie a lot on our shows. Now it's nice to finally get to talk about him proper and make our thoughts known. You know, I try to stay consistent on all this shit, and yeah, I think we've
Yeah.
done that.
Yeah. No, I know. Like, I know. Like, all joking aside, I've always known. Like, I know you're. He's not. He's not. I've always like respected your opinion in the sense of like you don't get online and you bitch like everyone else does. You don't try to just like, hey, look, I'm just not into his movies like I am his music. I can respect that. You know what I mean? Like, and no, you're right. I know like I can be a big defender of his work. Like I said, it's just because the time I got into him and just what he kind of for me as a burgeoning horror fan at the time. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, even I can admit, like his last couple of films haven't bowled me over. You know what I mean? Like, I thought 31 had untapped potential. I thought there was a lot of stuff left unexplored that's never getting explored in a sequel. Three from Hell was disappointing.
Well, I wonder, like knowing what he's had to sacrifice to make those movies happen, if he'd gotten the budget he wanted and the creative freedom he could get and a studio backing him up, could those movies have been the best of his career?
I think
I
they
don't
could.
know.
Yeah, and that's why I want could those because 31 had so much. The plot of just decided like they get kidnapped and they have to survive in this brutal game of people just trying to murder them. It's a fucking great setup for just a Rob Zombie type of horror film. And we're never getting a sequel to explore more of that stuff. So it's like, yeah. And then with Three from Hell, what was the original script? I know one of my biggest things was, and this could be a little bit of the hype train for that movie. Was what tone is the film going to be? Because House of Thousand Corpses is a much different film than its sequel, Devil's Rejects. So I was like, "Ooh, what's he going to do with Three from Hell?" And then what we got, and it could have just been because of the rewrite or whatever, was just more Devil's Rejects, but not as good.
Dude, I remember that hype train. When I went and saw Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson on the Twins of Evil tour a few years ago. Uh, Zombie came out, halfway through the show, he premiered the teaser trailer for Three from Hell, and he brought out, Sherry Moon and Danny Trejo to be like, we're in the movie, it's gonna be awesome. And then we saw the trailer, and like he was using his tour to promote that movie, and yeah, just nobody wanted it, nobody cared.
Yeah, I mean, it was already a tough sell because like the ending to Devil's Rejects is fucking, I think, just perfect.
Yeah,
And then it was like, well, if you're going to do this, then obviously you're probably going to go for a different tone. But then it quickly became known, like, oh, we're not for the third movie in a row, because and this actually ties greatly back into House of Thousand Corpses, not utilizing Dr. Satan, even though he's been this fucking untalked about part of the trilogy. If for those who are like, well, wait, what about the sequel? Watch the deleted scene. There's a deleted scene with Dr. Satan that was, and then they thought it in that case didn't mesh with the tone. In that case, I got it, and they took it out. But then it's like, well, then how are you going to explain how these fuckers lived? So I'm sorry, like it's established there's some weird shit going on with this family in this movie.
yeah, there's like fucking random zombies in this thing. Like whatever, we'll get into it. Um, but before we get into House of a Thousand Corpses proper, since we're both huge fans of zombies music, I wanted to spotlight the music, the stuff that I like, where I get to brag about how much I love Rob Zombie.
The part that people don't bitch about.
No one's bitching about this guy's epic combination of metal and horror movies to make just very unique rock and roll experiences. So we've each prepared a list of our top 5 personal favorite Rob Zombie tracks. That's how we're going to start today's show in place of a question, because really, what could we possibly ask about Rob Zombie that's not going to just create this conversation anyway? So yeah,
To me interrogating, why don't you like his movies?
that's kind of what I was expecting this to be, and it kind of was, but it's going to happen again. I know that.
So you told me, so you give me a fucking amazing score for a Rob Zombie film.
I don't know. Maybe, when I watch the Devil's Rejects again, maybe I will be more grown up to tolerate it, because it's been a long time.
I do like that. I know that you were horrified at what you saw, and I went, "Give me more." As a child,
Yeah, this is, I like that the movie is able to do that to different people. Some people are enamored, some people are disgusted, and others just don't even bother watching it. Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Why don't you start us off with your number five?
My number five is a more recent one, not off his newest album, because while I thought that one was good, I none of the songs really have leaped out to me quite yet. But number five is off his one, the one before it. I'm not gonna say the title because it's fucking long as shit. Um, but the life and times of a teenage rock star. Um, I just always like the beat to this one and like the weird gravelly voice he does at the beginning, and then just the teenage rock star, like that whole beat he has going on.
Pretty sure it's Teenage Rock God.
A rock god, yeah.
Yeah. And I look,
Probably. I was looking on my phone and it fucking dots it. And I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Rockstar. And did not bother to fucking check it.
I just
You
want to
know, the
make
CD's
sure
in my room.
I don't want anybody being like, he's a zombie fan, but he doesn't know the name of that song.
No, the CD's in my room and I was lazy and didn't get up. I just looked at my phone, which is on my phone, but it did the dot thing. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck.
I got you. I got you. That's a great song. It's an awesome song.
Yeah, it's an amazing song. Yeah, it's one of the newer ones I've liked a lot and I've listened to on a loop. And I've seen the music video way too many times.
Yeah. I definitely liked his most recent album a lot more. There's a couple songs on there that made it into my top five. Uh, but we're starting off
Okay.
I know, yeah. My five is one of his early classics. The film, the not film. I'm so used to doing this with movies. Uh, this the song that he opened his concert with when I got to see him, "Meet the Creeper." Ah, that's such a bitch
Okay.
intro, and really just a
Yeah.
great way to get a crowd in the palm of your hand.
Meet the creeper. Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one.
The fucking guitar on that, just like like it's so fucking cool.
That's how he opens that album. That's the first song off Hellboy Deluxe, and you're like, oh boy, this is what. And what's cool is that was the song that, like, oh yeah, it is Teenage Rock God. Sorry, I just looked it up. Um, I could have done that so easily before I record, but look, guys, I've had a long week.
I'm here to help. I'm here to help.
It's only Tuesday, and I had a long fucking week. Um, yeah, no, I remember when I was first getting into Rob Zombie, and it started mostly with, for some weird reason, back when they sold CDs and promoted that. Target was doing like it was a commercial for like Hobo Deluxe, Deluxe Special Edition, and they were like advertising. I was like, ooh, who's this guy? And I was asking like I want to try it. And I got it as a Christmas gift. I was like, oh, I want this Rob Zombie CD I've been hearing about. And man, when that song came on, I was like, oh, life changed as soon as like that song just hit. And I was like, okay, what is this album?
Yeah, man. I was in a record store in Houston um about 4 years ago. And just on a whim, I was like, let's check this place out. And I walked out of there with Hellbilly Deluxe on vinyl. And it's the only Rob Zombie album I have on vinyl. And I got to change that. It's a fucking great album.
Oh yeah, I actually still find it's probably be his best album. I know it's like the standard thing to say, like, oh, the first. I'm not one of those that thought it had. Like, I know a lot of fans think he just kind of petered off after that. I was like, I still like most of his albums post Overlooks, but that's just like I feel like just like absolute best. Like it's firing on all cylinders.
I know this is going to sound pretentious and a little mean, but does Rob Zombie have any actual true fans who just like his stuff? Is there anybody who isn't just constantly bitching about everything he puts out? It's just you. It's just you. It's just you.
It's just me going like, come on, guys, it's not that bad. Why is anyone bitching?
Oh my god. It's just the more I hear about it, I'm like, even the music, people are still like, oh, it's not as good as Hellbilly Deluxe. It's like, just be happy you're getting an album. Christ, people.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm glad he hasn't gone as far as like, oh god, Corey Taylor from Slipknot recently, because some fans have not responded too kindly to their latest Slipknot album because there's a lot of clean singing in it. Not what people want in a Slipknot album. Oh, and Corey Taylor literally said, "Shut up and just take what we give you." And I'm like, holy shit. Like, okay. On the fan side, you can dislike an album. That's fine. On your end, I get your frustration, but maybe calm it the fuck down there, Corey.
That's an aggressive response. Like, just shut the fuck up and take it. Like, whoa, buddy. Okay.
Guess what, Corey? If you're 555, then I'm 666. There you go. Slipknot song quoted. Boom.
Well, before I forget, let's continue.
Equal shit, Corey.
What is your number 4?
Mine is one of the most ridiculous name songs I've heard in my life, but god damn if it's not catchy. It's off his probably my second favorite album, The Venomous Rat Regeneration Vendor. I know that one off the top of my head. It is called Ging Gang Gong. They do gong. They laga raga. Don't ask me what that means. I'm pretty sure he was high off his ass when he came up with it. But my God, if you listen to that song and that part isn't catchy, and I challenge you to not get that stuck in your head. They actually played it, I remember, for the first Kingsman trailer. They kept playing the song. And I was like, they're playing it. And yeah, no, this song is so catchy from like, yeah, I just really fucking like this song a lot.
That song almost feels like Zombie parodying himself. Like, I like when he just randomly, like, towards the end, just goes like, fuck it, and then just goes into the chorus. It's like, just, song's over. that's awesome. Yeah, that's a good one. That almost ended up on my list, but didn't quite make it. But yeah, I'm glad you have it. I really like that song.
Yeah, I did look this one because I was like, how the fuck is this one?
Like, I would love if you had like just one wrong word on all 5 of your songs. And I had to be like, no. Every time. By the time we got to the third one, you would just probably walk away.
Just walk away. I don't know why I didn't bother to look up number 5. I was just like, I was angry because my feed was taking longer to get here than it should have. So I was like, God damn it. Because I'm looking up the songs.
All right. My number 4 is off of the most recent album, The Lunar Injection, whatever the fuck. I don't know why he keeps doing that.
I wanted him to name the next one Rob.
R to the Z. Bob Zombie.
God damn it.
I was going to do... Go ahead.
You should call the next one Rob Zombie Presents White Zombie.
I was going to do a whole like fake bio of Rob Zombie. Say like his name was like Roberto Zamboni and he was born in a small Italian village called Dragula. But I forgot to do that. That would have been fun.
Oh, that's the positive fans have. They universally love White Zombie. As far as a lot of fans are concerned, he peaked, but White Zombie and Hobo Deluxe won. I'm like, God damn it, guys. Stop being so angry.
I like White Zombie. They have some good songs. But Rob, I think he's better solo.
Yeah, and I think it's just fans that really want White Zombie to get back together, which newsflash, they haven't talked to each other since they broke up. It ain't happening. Rob Zombie has said that. He's like, I haven't talked to any of them since we broke up.
Wonder if they see his movies. I'm curious. I wonder who's spearheading the Munsters hate. If we could kind of backtrack the reviews, maybe we could find something. My number 4 is the first single off of this new one, the Triumph of King Freak.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, this was fun. It's a cool song. It's a driving song. I'm just bobbing my head and like just rocking out to that fucking song. It's a cool one. And I've got some friends who don't even like Rob Zombie who love that song. It's like it's a song that like crosses that barrier, which is pretty cool. That doesn't happen a lot. And yeah, I like that. I like the kind of funky beat it's got. That was a cool, like, hey, Rob Zombie's back in town, message we got during COVID. It was like, hey, things suck, but guess what? Zombie's back.
It's not a movie. Okay, guys, it's not a movie. It's music.
With an album. Let's make that very clear. It's an album. It's good news. I promise it's good news.
The pitchforks go up and then they just go right back down. Like, oh, okay.
Right. The pitchforks halfway through, like halfway down. How many songs? 12, 13? All right. You get a pass this time.
Album title, long and hard to remember. Got it.
Whoa. How many of the songs reference horror movies? At least 5? Okay. I'll check it out. I'll listen to it on YouTube, but I'm not buying it.
You sure you're not doing a movie? No, just now.
But yeah, King Freak's a fucking banger. Check that song out.
Yeah, no, I will say you kind of touched on it. I'll go and touch on it now. I would actually argue that you mentioned like groovy, it has groove to it and it breaks the barrier. I'd actually have seen in a lot of cases where like people who don't even really like metal tend to like Rob Zombie's music because to his credit, the man knows how to make. He could tell there's a lot of groove influence in his music because a lot of his songs have very groovy beat to it.
Mm. Yeah, it's true. Guy knows how to. You know what? His influences are, he wears them on his sleeve. He loves horror movies. He loves a nice groove. He combines all that shit into stuff he's proud of.
Yeah. And I can't fault the guy for that. He music and movies wise, he does what he wants to do. He wants to do. Just in the movie's case, it's a lot of online hate that doesn't shut up to the point that he even responded recently to the Monsters. And in music world, he's lauded. He's considered one of the best. He's still selling out stadiums.
Yeah, it reminds me of a tweet Jim Carrey once posted where somebody asked him like, "How do you sleep at night?" And he said, "Butt naked in case someone wants to kiss my ass." It's like, yeah, I can see Rob saying something like that.
Or just point blank being with my wife.
Yeah, with my hot horror movie wife. How about you?
Guess what? It's gonna be my next movie.
I wish he did a press release every time, being like news, like big news. I have decided to cast Sherry Moon Zombie in my upcoming project. Like every time.
I want him to fuck with people, just throw people on his next one. Don't announce her till like dead last. Give people hope that they're like, God, he broke it. He's not doing it. And then at the last minute, oh yeah, Sherry's in this.
He should like build it up as this like super secret actor he was so proud to be able to get. And then I'd like to introduce finally being able to work with them, Sherry Moon Zombie. I just want him to troll assholes for the rest of his career.
Just piss people off.
Yes, nonstop.
Oh God.
Call it Herman Munster's Revenge. Oh, all right. What's your number 3?
Woo. My number 3 is off his second album, The Sinister Urge, which fun fact, apparently when it was like I think first press release or something happened with like the single was released and it was referred to as the Sinister Surge. And so I was like, no, it's the Sinister Urge.
He just can't fucking catch a break, can he?
No. Well, then there's also, I don't know how controversial this is because of this musician being quite a bit of hot water. There's a big thing where like he would take musicians from Manson, put them in his band, and then Manson would take his musicians and put them in his band, just like for the longest time. John 5, his longtime standing guitarist, originally started out in Manson and then hopped over to Zombie.
I was watching it was the 100 greatest artists of hard rock. It was from like 2001 or 2002. And Marilyn Manson made like the bottom 10. And Alice Cooper was on there talking about Manson. And he's like, wow, a girl's name and a horror movie vibe. I wish I'd thought of that. And like he just seemed really pissed about Manson. But then when White Zombie was on the countdown, he had nothing but praise for Rob Zombie. And he said something like, if I could pick anyone to carry my horror torch, it's Rob Zombie. So I love that he hates Manson, but he loves Zombie.
Good old Cooper. I mean, look, based off what I've been kind of saying is that Manson was he, obviously this is all pre what we know now. But he wore that controversial, like, I fuck the system, fuck society. I am the anarchist. I am the villain on his sleeve at the height of his fucking career in power. So I'm sure he pissed off more than a few musicians. Whereas Rob Zombie, like he did what he wanted to do, but he, from what I've heard, is a great person to fucking work with. I've heard no one say bad things about him. Like seems like a generally good dude. Um, so I think that's like probably the key difference. And yeah, I think I know obviously you hear the comparisons all the time, like, oh, Manson's inspired by people like Alice Cooper and stuff. And I'm like, yes and no. Where to me, Manson was being shocking for the sake of shocking. Cooper, yeah, he had shocking stage shows, what he was doing, but he always had that horror edge, horror influence. I mean, the guy has a Friday 13th song, for Christ's sakes. He appeared in a Nightmare on Elm Street film. Like,
Yeah.
so horror was really what drove it all. So to me, Rob Zombie, I've always closely related more to Cooper than I have Manson and Cooper.
Yeah. And of course, now that we know that, Marilyn Manson's a lifelong rapist, he loses.
He does.
Yeah. Anyway.
Cooper's a happily married man, just like Zombie's a happily married man. Interesting.
Yeah. Good for them.
Yes. But yeah, now that we're done with that fun fact. My number 3, coming from the Sinister Urge, has always been my personal favorite on there. And it's one that talks about how he feels so good, but mostly feels so numb.
Nice.
Yes, feels so numb. This song just fucking rocks. Like I stand by, like, no, like Sinister Urge is not Hellboy Deluxe, but it's a damn good follow-up. And just the moment you hear the I feel so good, I feel so numb, yeah, and the funk song just kicks, I'm like, oh my god, yes, I can jam out to this song anytime. This song fucks.
Yeah, that's a bitchin' song. Yeah, that was. I think he played that at the show. That was cool. I like the Sinister Urge. I don't, it's like I just like having stuff to look at. Like, he's not making it for me, and he's not making it for you. He's making it for him.
Yeah. The only like slightly black sheep album I consider in his discography, and even then I still don't hate it, was his third album. Lords of God damn it. I gotta look it up because I can't remember off the top of my fucking head because my brain hates me. But his third album, and only because he really dropped a lot of the horror aesthetic and stuff from it compared to his first two and all his other albums. But even then, Educated Horses. Sorry, I looked it up. Educated Horses.
Oh, I liked Educated Horses.
Well, and let me finish. Jesus. Whereas I do feel like some of the aesthetic was dropped. It was still like a pretty goddamn good album.
I didn't feel he lost any of the aesthetic. Doesn't that album have, American Witch and The Devil's Rejects and like that?
And Lords of Salem.
And Lords of Salem. Yeah, fuck that. He didn't lose
So
the
two
aesthetic.
of his named movies on there.
Yeah, no, I disagree.
It also has Foxy Foxy.
Your point?
I'm saying it also has Foxy Foxy. And American Witch, which is a really good song.
And The Scorpion Sleeps, which is a pretty good song.
Scorpion Sleeps, pretty good song.
Yeah.
I mean aesthetic as far as like you look at the album covers and then you look at Educated Horses, it's a tad bit different.
It's just him. I think he was, you know what? That's a good photo. Let's use that. I think that's what he was doing. It doesn't need to be him in like giant makeup, like, eating a raw deer or some shit. It's just Rob Zombie.
That's exactly what I want.
This is Rob, not Rob Zombie.
You're saying this like I hate this album. I literally said like I still like this album. I'm saying I know that's like that's the album that fans like the.
And I'm saying that I disagree that he lost the aesthetic with that one. I think I think he maintained the status quo. And it is a good photo.
You're really obsessed with that photo.
Nice picture. I like when people take a good picture. Off the Sinister Urge. Off the Sinister Urge. I think my favorite song on there is Never Gonna Stop. The Red Groovy.
Never gonna stop.
Yeah. Scream if you want it. That's some badass. That's a great song.
Yeah, no, that one's good. I would say I think it's interesting if you listen to songs, especially after like Hellbilly Deluxe. Like Hellbilly Deluxe is very much metal with like groove elements in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you go off of that, it's like it's groove elements with metal in it, which I'm not saying as a negative. I actually think a lot of times he knows how to make it work. But when he I like how he can kind of switch it. He can either do like Very groovy song, but like they're so metal. Like you make it very, very metal, but there's so like a groove to it. I think
Mhm.
that's why like I think Phil Sonoma, me just being the guy I am, that's why my personal favorite is Phil Sonoma. It's like very metal, very heavy, but there's still a groove. You just can't help but like fucking still kind of like, jam to and enjoy. But I do Never Gonna Stop Me is really good. It's actually a lot of good fucking songs off that album.
Yeah. Might I shout out Demon Speeding?
I was about to say Demon Speeding's really good.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up my list of albums so I should stay on it for this discussion. Um,
It's a good idea.
Dead
Didn't
Girl Superstar.
didn't this album also have House of a Thousand Corpses?
It did. This is where the title came from, which is actually a pretty good song in and of itself.
I cut the first like 2 minutes where it's just like news reporting.
I thought that was the last 2 minutes.
It's the first 2 minutes because it's like a 9 minute song, and then like it takes forever to get started. But once it gets started, it's a bitchin' track.
Yeah. Well, and then it has that ending. Oh, because I got it off my CD where it's like there's a secret song at the end, so it's like there's more ambience at the end, and it hits into another song.
Okay.
Yeah. Dead Girl Superstar is really good too.
Yeah.
Dead Girl Superstar. Fucking high pitched shit he does at the end.
Yeah. Speaking of House of a Thousand Corpses, my number three is a song that is featured on this soundtrack. It's not the title track, although I do love it. It's a little song called Pussy Liquor. With a Q, we're not savages. This song is so fucking awesome. I love, the double entendre, but then it's like he's telling the story of House of a Thousand Corpses. It's got that little excerpt of dialogue, I like to get fucked up too. Like that. Always makes me laugh. Fucking goober.
Yeah. I like to do fucked up shit. Get fucked up too.
And this one has a personal attachment to me because when I'm writing my own work, I like to use songs to kind of inspire me to write certain characters' dialogue, and I have those songs like attached to certain characters I make. And this song is what inspired me to further create my bad guy for my first book, character named Damian Harlow. So I always picture him like riding across the desert to this song, and it just makes me smile and inspires me to write. So Rob Zombie inspired me to create with this song.
That's quaint. That's nice.
Yeah, it feels good. And it's a banging track about just, fucked up shit.
Yeah, those early years, there's always for me, just because of like I guess it's nostalgia with like those first three albums, Hobo Deluxe, Sensor Urge, and Educated Horses, honestly. That there's just something like when I listen to those albums or I listen to songs, there's like nostalgic. So when I was first like discovering them and like going like getting immersed into his style of like metal and groove and putting movie clips into the songs and really telling stories with his music at times. And yeah, I will always, like I said, I know even when Educated Horses, again, for the fans, I like to pull the, he dropped the aesthetic. It's the one oddball. I'll defend those first three albums to death. Like they're just very important albums to me.
Yeah, man. They're badass. And to me, he's always done badass music. I don't really have an album I don't like. If I had to pick, I think Hellbilly Deluxe 2 isn't as good as the rest, but it's got Werewolf Baby, and that's a bitchin' song.
I was gonna say Hellboy Deluxe 2, and only because I felt like I'm like, don't chase the high of Hellboy Deluxe. But with that, I mean, there's still stuff I like it, like Jesus Frankenstein, Sick Bubblegum, Morris Needs Women is fucking great. So there's still stuff I like on it, but I'm with you. That's the one where I was like, it felt like he was chasing Hobo Deluxe one. I wasn't asking him to do that. I just want another great Rob Zombie album. But even then, I'll still defend that one to an extent.
Yeah, don't live in the past, Rob. Live in the future. What's your number two?
These last two in general might be what everyone says, but fuck it, there's a reason they have stood the test of time. But my number two is one I've loved to this day, and it's Living Dead Gore off of Hellboy Deluxe. From the moment you hear the weird fucking computer track thing he's doing with his voice with the Living Dead Gore, and like Again, how he can do this thing where he just does something like that and just kick that song to full blast on you, and you're just like, oh, whoa, I'm in on the song. Um, and yeah, I've loved the beat. I really like the fucking lyrics. So like I said, Hobo Looks was my intro as far as music goes. I got into Rob Zombie before I got into White Zombie. I've heard the White Zombie hit songs. I just never clicked as a kid that that's who it was. I just remember hearing like, oh, this is a good song. Um, but this is me really knowing, and yeah, I really got introduced like his very interesting style of lyricism. Um, with this song, I went by number one, but I'm gonna save that for last. And yeah, this was like me going like, yeah, I remember this was one of the many songs on this album when I picked it up and I listened to it. I'm gonna go like, I fucking love this guy. Give me more.
Yeah. Who is this irresistible creature who has an insatiable love for the dead?
Dead.
Yeah, Living Dead Girl is a epic song. I think I first heard that when I watched Bride of Chucky, and then that's when I first heard that.
It works so well at the beginning of that movie. Oh my god. And then like the music video and how he's referencing Cabinet Dr. Caligari. Oh, the music video is so good.
I specifically left out certain songs on my list because I knew you were going to have them. Living Dead Girl and what I know is your number one are the two I left out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't help myself. It's like I know it's cliche and I try to avoid that, but I was like, I can't. Not in this case, I can't.
I get it, man. I get it. It's hard, hard not to. Uh, my number two is another one off the recent album, The Ballad of Sleazy Rider.
Okay. I remember not I found this one okay. I found the song okay off the album, but okay.
For me, this makes it here because this has the greatest lyric I believe Rob Zombie has ever written. And I scream it when I listen to this song because I can't help but get like fucking energized by it. And that is an outer space motherfucking boogeyman. That's the coolest shit he's ever written.
You ever think like John Five sometimes, again, he's been with him for a while now, looks at these lyrics and goes like, fuck it. Just let me play that guitar.
Yeah, to anybody else, this is ridiculous. But Zombie, screeching that shit over a killer riff, and I'm in. You don't need much more to get me on your side than that. And yeah, I love this song. It's interchangeable with my number one, really. Like I think it's a awesome song, one of his best, and just jazzes me up.
Oh yeah. I mean that's what like I said. I remember this was one that didn't really leap out at me, but I like your defense of it. I like what you got.
It's what I do. I always go more personal. Like I don't care what what critics or fans say are the greatest songs. I try to pick what resonates with me the most. I do that with movies too. You guys see me do that all the time.
Well, I mean, I know like with me with music, obviously, people have their thoughts nowadays on like CDs and physical media. Like look, if it's me downloading like maybe getting into a new band or I'm just downloading off onto my Amazon. I got Amazon Music Unlimited. I don't know why. I'm not trying to be a hipster, not have Spotify. It's just what I picked. Um, um, but I have that. Yeah, I'll get like singles and stuff. Obviously, when they release new music of bands like off there. But when it comes to buying CDs, I tend to stick with bands I already have the prior CDs. I've been with them, hanging with them for a while. So Zombies, one of those people. Slipknot, Manson before what all the shit that went down. Um, you know, all those guys. And yeah, so a lot of times, like obviously, I pay attention. I watch the new music videos. Like, oh shit, they're dropping a new song. Like I was all on it when Slipknot. They're fresh on my mind because they just came out with their album. But when they were dropping theirs, they're like, hey, here's the new video for her. I'm like, oh my god. But then I'll get the album and I'll listen to it several times and really be like, okay, what outside of the singles? Obviously, I've heard these before this album came out. Outside of these, what do I like? What hits me? And usually I'll get stuff that doesn't even make singles because I listen to the whole album.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I really like a lot of the music I get these days comes out of like I heard the song in a movie and thought it was cool. But I've always just like, I buy the albums of the artist I like for the most part, and I listen through the album and whatever I think is cool, I grab. I don't even really pay attention to singles.
Mm.
The last band that I really like, new band that I got into, or I started buying their albums, was Greta Van Fleet, who I really like. I'm actually seeing them in concert the week after I get back from Germany. Uh, they fucking rock. They're 3 albums in, and they're fantastic. Like they're going to be around for a while. They're all in their 20s, and they're insanely talented rock stars.
I know about Grab Van Fleet. It's hard for me to get into them because they sound so much like Led Zeppelin.
That was the hook. That was what initially got me interested, and now I like them as their own thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can give it a reshot, but I remember just being like,
Listen to the song. What is it called? Fuck it, I don't remember the song. I'll text it to you. But the opening of that song sounds like Jimmy Page. Like they were not hiding their influence there. Even though they're kind of like, we're not Led Zeppelin, but then they're going to do a song that sounds like Jimmy Page. And I'm like, come on,
man.
Yeah. Built by Nations. That's the song off of the Battle at Gardens Gate. It's good shit.
Okay.
So we're on your number one. I wonder what it is.
It's cliche. Come at me. Don't give a shit. It's the one that everyone loved. The one bit of something zombie came out that everyone seems to be unified on the love for. Outside of Devil's Rejects, and that is Dragula. This song, you know, just like if you just look at like your it's just look at your music history, right? This was after like Right Zombie was starting to rise. Like they were starting to, between Thunderkiss 65 and More Human Than Human and all this, they were starting to fucking hit it. And then next thing you know, they break up. And I was like, what the fuck? Rob Zombie was like, hey, I'm doing something solo. This is the song that announced his solo career. This is what he came out with to announce, now I'm Rob Zombie. Not right, Rob Zombie. And holy fuck, what a debut. This song it is a classic for a goddamn reason. I challenge anyone that likes Mo to not like this fucking song. Like it works. The lyricism, the way he delivers the choruses before he gets the verses before he hits the chorus. Even the chorus is fucking great. It's just everyone knows it. As soon as they dig through the witches and burn through. Like everyone is like, oh, Dragula, like it's so good. This song is just great. I can't say enough about how great this song is.
This is the song that introduced me to Zombie. My dad had the CD single of this, so it was like different remixes of Dragula, and he would play that, and I was like, this is cool. And then I never looked further into it until I heard Living Dead Girl and Bride of Chucky, and I'm like, that sounds like that guy. I never looked back. But yeah, Dragula's fucking awesome. I think it's also named after like the Munsters car.
It is.
Like,
and the music video is him driving the Munsters car singing the song. I'm just going, Dad, I am the one exterminating son. Slipping through the trees, strangling the breeze.
Did you see the video? There was a video I saw. I don't know if it's recent or when this was taken, but it's a grandma doing karaoke to Dragula.
Was she good?
Yes. She fucking owned that shit. It was awesome. She's like 80. And she's rocking out to Rob Zombie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. That's one of the greatest metal songs of all time. And a true, like, look out, here I fucking come song.
Yeah. And as part of like, I think Hillbilly Likes is still his like best selling album to this day. Like, to come out with that and be like, like, because like I said, especially when you're on the rise and also when you break up, it's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, White Zombie's done. There goes that band. And then Rob Zombie's like, just wait. Comes out with this, and then the 1-2 punch of like, now here's my album, and you're like, oh my god, because then you get like Super Beast, Living Dead Gore, Meet the Creeper, like Demonoid Phenomenon, like all these fucking just kick ass tracks, and you're like, god damn.
Super Beast almost made my list. It was hard to cut that. I fucking love Super Beast.
Super Beast is so good.
That was the second song it was at the show. It was Meet the Creeper, and then he went right into Super Beast. It's like,
Meet the Creeper, yeah.
Yeah, good shit. Oh, My number one
Your
is
super sorry.
is off of the Electric Warlock Celebration Orgy Dispenser, whatever. Yeah. It's a great song. I could have gone with Everyone's Fucking in a UFO because that's such a great, weird little song.
That is a good one,
Especially
yeah.
when you get the insert of the album of the alien orgy. Jesus Christ.
Everybody.
When he played that song at the concert, somebody walked out in an 8 foot tall alien costume with a huge boner and just walked around the stage during the song. It was hilarious. That's not the song I picked. The song I picked is The Hideous Exhibitions of a Dedicated Gore Whore.
Yeah, this is a good one. This is a really good one.
Yeah, because I'm like, there's no way in hell this isn't about his wife. This is his love letter. This is Rob Zombie's love song. And it's awesome. It's so cool. You know, we got a nice little like nod to Vincent Price in there. Got another amazing lyric of, you know, that's motherfucking rock and roll. It's like, yes, goddamn, man. It's fucking awesome. And it's just a song about, you know, love horror, love gore, be who you are, and, you know, fuck as much as you want. It's an amazing song and just kind of encapsulates everything I think Rob Zombie represents.
I'm Rob Zombie and I'm out.
Yeah, it's a mic drop song. Like that could have been like the one song in that album, and I would have been like, this is one of his best. Yeah, I've always dug that song.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's one I've always really liked off that album. That album's really good. I remember it took a while for that album to grow on me because it came off of fucking Venomous Rat Regeneration Venom, which I thought was an astounding album. And then I heard that I was like, pretty good. But then it grew on me, and like, yeah, that was one of the ones that grew on me. And then stuff like Get Your Boots On and The Age of the Consecrated, blah blah blah.
Oh,
I can't remember these long ass songs.
Get high. That's a
yeah. I think they shorten it for like the video and everything to just Get High. Because they're just like, Jesus Christ, lower the song usage here, song wordage. Yeah, the get high. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Yeah, there's so many songs on here that like I was like really going through like like, you know, I was thinking about, you know, his one cover that he's done, We're an American Band, which is so fucking good.
Yeah.
Dead City Radio was another one I was really debating. Teenage Nosferatu Pussy.
I feel like he's just playing horror Mad Libs with all of his titles. Not if there's anything wrong with that. I love it.
Oh yeah.
I really liked off of Lunar Injection. I liked the Satanic Rites of Blackula. I really like that one.
That's a good one. I Get Loose was one I liked a lot. I know you just did a video for it, but the shake your ass, smoke some grass. The video on that YouTube is age restricted for a very good reason. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, man. He's goddamn rock star, and he has been for a very long time, and he's going to be for a much longer time. Like he's not stopping. You can't slow him down. If all the shit he's had to fight through, can't slow him down at this point. If anything, it's just fueling a more furious fire. So yeah.
Can you imagine like this next album from him? It's just this pure hatred and anger.
I hope there's at least one like Ice Cube diss track level song about all the people who went after him for the Munsters. I really hope he does not hold back on that shit.
Oh God, that would be great. Yeah, no, look, you know, at the end of the day, and actually I'll give Josh credit on this one. He said a really good thing when it came to like, at least for his movies, right? At the end of the day, people talk. At the end of the day, regardless of what you think about his fucking film or his new album, whenever he does come out, I'm sure that's up next. Now you got the movie out. He seems to do that movie album. He causes people to talk. There's always an online discourse revolving Rob Zombie. It's people that just are, you know, diehard, like, you know, more diehard than I am. They're like, leave him alone. He's a fucking amazing, you know, artist, and people are just like, he sucks, he's a hack. At the end of the day, people are talking, and it's getting attention to him, attention to his movies, attention to his music.
It's so weird though that like with Rob Zombie, there's no controversy, there's no like, charges or anything. It is people just being like, I don't fucking like him. And then just creating a whole fucking argument around that. I don't see that with like anybody else. It's so weird. There's just people who just don't like him and they take it personally.
It's like they're really hurt by his work. I'm like, but it's like, yeah. So that's from Josh, right? And he is right. Like he is right. Like he causes online discourse every time. And at the end of the day, what I appreciate though is that this man's almost in his 60s. I think he's like late 50s right now.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, and to this day, with obviously so his movies we talked about, he has persevered through various, especially with a lot of his later works, various issues, and to an extent, we're going to talk about it here shortly, House of Corpses and things he had to do to just get it fucking released. And he has persevered and never backed down from doing what he wants to do and staying true to his vision and getting it out there. And then same thing with the music. He's never backed down from a studio that had been like, hey, you know what? I'll make it less weird. I don't know. He's like, no, he persevered. He worked his ass off for Rise Zombie. Got that going, carried that momentum to a solo career, and it's one of the like most well-known, best-selling music artists in metal, a genre that has not had its fucking mainstream limelight in years. Going, like I said, I'll say it again, he is still selling out fucking stadiums.
I know. I bought a ticket for that once.
Mm-hmm.
First off, if you're working with an artist named Rob Zombie and you're going to give him the note of make it less weird, you need to stop working with this gentleman because you don't get it. You're in the wrong. You need to go hook up with some jazz artist and just play the notes that aren't like don't need to be played.
Can you imagine the note? Hey, can we make it less horror?
Yeah, I guess on that album he'll just go by like the single name Rob, like Madonna or something.
He'll go by his actual name, Bartholomew Cummings.
I would if I knew nothing about Rob Zombie and I saw a metal album by a guy named Bartholomew Cummings, I would check that out.
It sounds awfully a lot like Rob Zombie.
He could have been Bart Zombie. First person to call him Rob. We owe him everything.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. That was fun. I enjoyed that top 5. We need to do more music stuff. That was fun, kind of stepping out of the box a little bit.
I just think something out of the box in general. Maybe if we do like a video game movie one day, see if we can somehow tie a video game countdown to that.
There you go. Now we're cooking with gas. Yeah. Let's change it up a little bit.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah. Let's recap our list here. Mine was number 5, Meet the Creeper. Number 4, The Triumph of King Freak. Number 3, Pussy Liquor. Number 2, The Ballad of Sleazy Rider. Number 1, The Hideous Exhibitions of a Dedicated Gore Whore.
My one note to Rob Zombie, can we shorten the titles? No, I'm kidding. He needs so many words. No, I'm kidding. Mine, number 5, I've corrected it. The Life and Times of a Teenage Rock God. Rock God. 4, Ging Gang Gong. They do gong. They laga raga.
I love that you did that one flawlessly. But you mixed up Rock God. Moving on.
Yeah, the one I would have fucked up. I'm like, I got this. Hold my beer. 3, Feel So Numb. 2, Living Dead Girl, and then 1, the one that everyone knows, Immortal Classic, Dragula.
Sorry, I just had an image of you at a spelling bee and you flawlessly spelled onomatopoeia and you got tripped up on dog.
G. Oh, I mean, God, no. Let me try again. T. Oh, God, no.
The pressure got to you. It happens.
Is there an A?
Can you use it in a sentence, please? Oh, good stuff. All right. So let's get to the main event here. House of a Thousand Corpses. How did this thing get made, and how did Universal let this fester as long as they did if they didn't want it in the first place? Let's find out.
There's credit production history on this.
One. So Rob Zombie, as we talked about, rose to fame as the frontman of 90s metal band White Zombie before going solo in 98 with his debut album Hellbilly Deluxe. He first came up with the idea for House of a Thousand Corpses when he was designing a haunted house attraction for Universal Studios that had the same title. He was like, this could be a movie. And he pitched it to Universal, and at first they loved it and immediately gave him the green light. Like, yeah, shoot it. Go ahead, make it. We will stand by you this whole time, we promise. And he finished the film in a few months in 2000. And once he had a finished product, he was like, here, now what? Universal's like, what do you mean now what? We don't want it. It's too weird for us. He was like, but you told me to shoot it. He's like, and?
I imagine it more like they just went, oh shit, you finished it? If they were like, oh, we thought you wasn't going to finish it. Yeah, you want to release it? Oh, you want us to release it?
I imagine the initial meeting between Rob Zombie and whoever he pitched this to. The guy was like half paying attention. He's like he's looking at a Playboy, and Zombie's like, yeah, it could be a haunted house movie with like this weird family, and like these guys look at Roadside Attraction and this creepy clown dude, and a lot of horror movie shit. Doesn't that sound cool? And the guy's like, oh yeah, what? Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, go shoot it. Yeah, sure. And then Zombie's like, okay. He went and made it, came back, and the guy's like, the fuck is this? What do you mean we paid for it? What are you talking about?
I thought you were a musician. What the hell is this shit?
I mean, to be fair, when you're meeting with a guy named Rob Zombie, I doubt he showed up in like a suit and tie. I feel like cowboy hat, aesthetic, and all that.
I don't think I've ever seen him in any like interview he's done, or when he was. Yeah, he's like he gets nominated at Grammys because he's like they like to do at the Oscars. It's, oh hey, here's metal. It's usually like bands that have been around for like 20 plus years, so like Korn and Slipknot and him always. Manson used to get nominated. Didn't
he still get nominated after all the shit?
Still got nominated. That was a big point of controversy. Especially how they handled it was not good. But even for that, I don't think I've ever seen him. He's always in like blue jeans and it's a shirt.
Yeah, the richer and more famous you are, the less effort you have to put into looking respectable. Doesn't matter, you know.
Yeah, especially
you're Rob Zombie.
Well, especially if you're like a rock, like a metal like artist, it's like comes with it. Like they don't put on suits. That's not what they do.
If Dee Snider can testify in front of Congress with tight ass jeans that show off quite a bulge,
that man has,
yeah,
that man has bulge.
Dee's rocking some Snider, and yeah, but Zombie could do a pitch meeting in blue jeans and cowboy hat and hope he doesn't get fucked over, but apparently,
yeah. And at this point, he had his treads, so he also has like fucking dreadlocks going on in his beard, which I think someone asked him when they're like, "Have you ever shaved your beard?" He's like, "Once. I didn't like it.
Didn't take." Imagine him trying and just the razor breaks. But yeah, this is the guy you're taking a meeting with, Universal. Already a rock icon, metal icon, who's designing a fucked up haunted house. And then you take the meeting, you tell him to make the movie, he comes back with the movie, and now you're like, I don't know about this. My God, people, communication. Tell him that before he shoots a movie, not after.
God, can you imagine the whole time on site? He's like, guys, we won't get this release. And he's walking into like, he's probably like skipping a few steps. Like, I got my first movie done. I put my girl, because at the time I think they were just boyfriend, girlfriend. He's like, my girlfriend's in it, all my friends. I got this movie, and they paid for it. And he hands it to them.
I just love the image of him being like, like so excited about this.
God damn it. I was trying not to laugh, and you kept laughing. And he just gets in there and they're just like, you shot this? Ooh, no. You just see the look just of, but but you gave me the I put my girlfriend in this. She goes, my girlfriend's in this movie. I I got my friends.
I got Sid Haig. I love Sid Haig. He had a good time.
Yeah.
We had
Bill
a good
Moseley Bill Moseley really enjoyed his time there. Karen Black. He starts naming people.
Rainn Wilson, Chris Hardwick, the guy from Bonnie and Clyde.
Walton Goggins. You guys will know him eventually.
Dr. Satan. Dr. Satan.
Tiny.
He's naming the characters now.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, but this, in all seriousness though, Universal, fuck you for leading them on like that. That's horseshit.
Oh no, yeah, and also all joking aside, that is a really funny image. Yeah, no, it's a bullshit move to be like, oh yeah, let's go, you guys go film it. And I forget, I don't know if they even gave him. I don't know if it was like too extreme for them, whatever the fuck it was.
What happened? They didn't even run it by the motion picture code. They just assumed it was going to get an NC-17, and they didn't want to bother with it. They didn't even run it by. They just like, we don't want to try it. It's obviously not for us. Bye-bye. That's cold.
Yeah, how look, you're looking at a white tattooed bearded dreadlocks man who sings heavy metal, and you let him film the movie. You discussed it. You went, yep, let's do it. You seem like a good person to do this. You let him do it, and then you watched it and went, oh God, no, we're not going to screen that.
What were you expecting? Like a road comedy? Like a drama? A kids movie? What did you think besides horror was going to come out of that guy?
We got a family movie like way down the line.
Yeah, not at first.
No, but yeah, it is like, what were you thinking? Like, what the fuck? Like, what were you expecting him to come back with? And then to just say, well, we're not even going to try. Like, how many times has the MPAA give something the X rating before it was NC-17, or the NC-17, and then you go back and you recut it to achieve the rating you want? They even bothered to do that. They're like, yep, nope.
Everything Eli Roth's done, all the Saw movies, good chunk of the 80s slasher movies, like most horror movies tend to be too much, and then they have to be trimmed back. That's how it works.
Yeah. And then usually when it comes out to home video, we get the cut we really want, the extreme version.
Yeah. Which admittedly has like 2 extra minutes and wasn't worth all the hubbub.
9 times out of 10, yeah.
So the haunted house that was called House of a Thousand Corpses got renamed in 2001 when it was launched. They called it American Nightmare because they shelved the film, so they didn't want to release a haunted house that had the name of a movie they're not going to do anything with. Weirdly, the haunted house still featured references to the film and played the trailer for customers waiting in line. So that's damn. I mean, just kicking them all these down.
I was going to say, is that Zombie being cheeky or Universal going, hey, look, it's that movie we shelved that we told you we were going to film? Meanwhile, my girlfriend, my friends.
Captain Spaulding. Come on. Just a pleading Rob Zombie just listing his characters. I don't know why, but that really makes me laugh. I picture that's how he wins every argument. He's like, come on, and then just starts listing characters he's created.
He even throws in Michael just to piss people off. Michael Myers, come on.
Young, weird child hillbilly Michael Myers. That was mine.
Laurie. I did Laurie, damn it.
Oh, okay. Some of the film, I thought this was hilarious, was shot on the Universal Studios Hollywood backlots. The Firefly house is the same house featured in the movie The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. And Zombie said that filming here was difficult, as he often had to do it while the park was open, and the park just refused to stop having the cars go past that house. So he had to shoot around tourists, just being like, "Ooh, neat! Oh, look, there's a movie right over there." Like Universal wouldn't stop the tours for his filming schedule. He just told him to work around it. That is such bullshit.
Right? It's like, God damn, anyone else would be like, hey, we're filming here. And they're like, dude, just work around it, all right? But the cars make noise on the mics that we pick up. I don't give a shit, zombie. You fucking make a goddamn movie and you work around those fucking cars. You hear me?
This complete pattern of disrespect since day one that Rob Zombie has had to deal with in Hollywood is astonishing. This is amazing. No director would ever have to deal with this except fucking Rob Zombie having to film his way around the Universal tour.
Well, what's ridiculous that as much what does it say that like Rob Zombie hasn't stopped making movies where it's like, and this is no disrespect to John Carpenter at all, but he just said, you know what, fuck you, I'm done. I'm gonna go smoke weed, play video games, and watch basketball. Like, is Zombie the stronger human being here? I don't know. They both react in their own way.
I'm picturing John Carpenter like quitting to an executive and then just like pulling a joint out of one pocket and a remote control out of the other, and just walking towards the nearest television and just plopping. Just being like, I'm not moving from this spot. Fuck you. And legend says he's still there to this day.
Just now talking about a Dead Space movie that no one's fucking handing him.
John Carpenter wants to make another movie and nobody's jumping on that. What is going on? We're in the worst fucking timeline.
Do you think like him and like, well, I don't know. Hopefully him and Rob Zombie made up after the whole like Halloween issue. But you think they're like sometimes in that house like, so you're disrespected too? Yeah. Join the club, friend. Join the club.
I feel like nobody buries the hatchet with Rob Zombie. And I feel like even fewer people do it with John Carpenter. So, I mean, you'd think that if one of them could just say something about the Halloween phone call, they might find some common ground.
It was, dude. It was a documentary on the whole series of Halloween. It's the same. I think it was the same company that did like the Scream thing where they did each movie. I mean, it was so awkward in that part because you could tell like Zombie's like, yeah, like I called him just to give him the courtesy that like, hey, they've tapped me. I took the job. I'm going to remake Halloween. I just want you to give you the heads up. It's a respectful thing. And, Carpenter's just like, yeah, well, good luck. And then like hung up on him. And then we cut to Carpenter talking about it. He goes, yeah, it's just, and this is when Carpenter was kind of grumpy. Carpenter, you remember those years when it was just like he had nothing nice to say. And yeah, he's like just sits there and goes like, I don't know why they would try it, and just, yeah, good luck to him, blah blah blah. And there's already flaws in the first man. I was like, okay, Carpenter, I get it, but like he was giving me the courtesy more than probably most do, to at the very least probably be like, hey, this is what's going on. I'm sure probably had you been a little nicer on the phone, he probably would have actually even asked, hey, do you want to be a part of this? I would like to consult with you. But you were kind of rude there, buddy.
In Carpenter's defense, he had just seen them fuck up The Fog and Assault on Precinct 13. And I'm sure he wasn't too happy hearing they were going to try their hand at Halloween without him. And I'm sure he didn't really give a shit who was on the end of that phone. He was going to react whoever it was. I don't even think he heard his name. He was just like, somebody's doing Halloween. Fuck you. Not my problem. Good luck.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it was.
Yeah, I don't think it was personal. I think he was just so done. Just so done.
Yeah, I will say it's very nice to have John Carpenter, happy working again.
20 years. Yeah. In 20 years, when somebody decides to remake House of a Thousand Corpses and they call Rob Zombie, I don't know if he's going to be as courteous. Be like, yeah, okay, good luck. It'd be funny if it happens again.
You think like the dialogue he has in his movies is how he responds to the phone?
Yes. I think a conversation with Rob Zombie would be the highlight of your life.
Yeah, it would.
Oh, okay. So Universal refused to shut down the tours while Zombie was making his movie. Ultimately, Universal would lose interest, passing the film when it was nearly finished. They just hoped he would run out of money, but he didn't. And then Rob hoped that he would get more money to finish the movie, like make a good ending, because he was hoping that when he would show them the dailies, they'd be like, "Oh, this is pretty good. Here's another million to finish this thing off. You're doing great, Rob." Instead, he got the cold shoulder and basically escorted out of the building.
Jesus Christ. Hey, if we do an okay ending, but we do really want everything else, so give us the money, okay? And then we can do a good ending. The whole time they're just sitting going, this is shit. Fuck off.
It is crazy. The level, like just the complete lack of communication on all levels with this thing, just hoping he would just kind of go away.
Honestly, is it like them just actively making sure to try to fuck him? Like, okay, we're just not going to communicate with him properly. Let him think he's going to get the money, but we're really not going to give him money.
You're going to try to psychologically torture Rob Zombie? Good fucking luck, Universal. Oh, man. So Zombie was surprised when Universal just said, we don't want it, because he'd been very honest with Universal head Stacy Snyder at the time. He told them straight up what he was making. Like, there was never any, like, communication troubles there. Zombie said, quote, "I was really blatant when I talked to them. I didn't want to get into a situation where they thought I was making something mainstream. And I told them that I wanted to make a drive-in movie, something very gritty and nasty and weird. And he did. So what was the problem here?"
Ugh. It's like they didn't hear what he was trying to make. They're like, cool. Yep. Halloween, cool. Okay. And he's like, no, not that. No. Let's try this again.
House of a Thousand Corpses. Halloween? No.
Okay, ready? Okay. House of Without Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh my fucking god. All right. Poltergeist.
Hollywood executives are like the fucking seagulls from Finding Nemo. They're just, just these mindless drones who can only say one word. In their case, it's remake.
Right. They just keep going. He keeps saying it's gonna be weird, classy, mainstream. No, not drive-in, weird, gritty. We hear you, Rob. Mainstream, safe for the whole family.
I was like, no, it's gonna be freaky. It's gonna be weird. People are gonna die. There's a lot of murder scenes. It's gonna be fucking crazy. PG-13. I see where you're going here. No, God damn it, no. Oh boy. So Zombie ended up purchasing the film rights from Universal himself. He's like, well, I guess I'll take it. And they're like, sure, just take it and get out. Like, they didn't even argue. They're like, okay, sure.
At first I'm thinking, I like they know that he is so good as, like, making all that money off his, his height of his music career. They just like, I'll just buy it. Fuck it. But really, it was just like, they just went, we don't care how much you give us, just fucking take it, all right? Just get the hell out of here. We don't want it.
This relationship is so insanely one-sided. It's astonishing. It's making me laugh. I love this idea of Zombie just being like so passionate about this, and then just being like, just go away, you weird cowboy man. Just go away.
Just go away. Stop bringing your girlfriend everywhere with you. Jesus, okay? We get it. You put her in the movie.
Stop showing up with Bill Moseley. The guy freaks me out.
I've seen TCM too. He weirds me out, okay?
Oh, so after Zombie just bought his own movie back, all of his friends and colleagues are basically just like, dude, just let it go. just cut your losses, scrap this thing, and figure something out. Like, it's just the first movie. We all know everyone stumbles the first time. You'll bounce back.
Even his colleagues and friends like, dude, just let it go. He's like, God damn it, no. You think Sherry's the only one that believes in him? Like,
I believe one. Yes, from the beginning, I do believe she's the only one who's been in his corner every time.
He just goes somewhere. He goes, Sherry, you won't believe. Shh, Rob.
And I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that the only non-Rob Zombie thing she's ever acted in was an episode of Californication. So
the remake of Toolbox Murders.
Oh, my mistake. But that was Rob Zombie connected because like Hooper was like, "Hey, you were good in that Rob Zombie thing, being my thing."
Okay. He didn't direct it though, but yes, I see what you're saying.
Still, it's like it's good to have someone in your corner. You got to have somebody to believe in you, otherwise you're just gonna cut your losses.
And if we're being blunt, who better than your significant other that offers things that others can't in a very healthy relationship?
A lady who took your fictional last name of Zombie.
She's
not Sherry Cummings. She's Sherry Zombie. That's awesome. That's love right there.
No, yeah. Look, I know I mentioned earlier what like people bitching about casting. Like, look, say what you will about how you feel about her acting, but like you cannot deny that those two fucking love each other.
Yeah,
like, that is like they are relationship goals as far as I'm concerned. Is Rob Zombie and Sherry Moon Zombie.
I would love to have a relationship as strong as theirs, and to build it on the foundation of this fucked up movie. Maybe that's the way to go.
Well, actually, she met him because she was a dancer for his videos.
So it's built on the music. Of course, it's built on the music. Beautiful. Oh boy. So Zombie's not giving up. He's got a finished movie here. No one wants it, but goddamn it, he's gonna make this happen. He wants a studio back release for this movie.
I want a fucking movie about the making of this movie.
I would love to see that story. Oh my god. I wonder if Universal will try to distribute that. So, all right. Weirdly enough, Universal not the worst bad guy in this story because he made a deal with MGM to release it, and MGM are some petty motherfuckers because it fell apart when an MGM exec overheard Rob Zombie make a comment about MGM's lack of morals for releasing a film like this. And of course, he's joking, probably talking to a friend. Some exec happens to pass by and thinks that this new director is talking shit about one of America's oldest film studios. And so he immediately was like, well, you get the fuck out of here right now. And no more MGM.
Yeah, I heard about that. He literally just made a joke about like, oh wow, MGM must be a immoral studio to buy a movie like this. Like it was just a fucking stupid joke. And they went, oh, we'll show you,
Mr. Talk shit?
Rob Zombie.
I imagine it was exactly like that. Oh yeah, we're so immoral. We'll take this, asshole.
Fuck you, movie not coming out. They're just doing like the middle finger thumbs. Haha.
I imagine the security like throwing him out and then throwing his film after him. The canister like hits him on the head, and he's just like, ah. God damn it.
I don't know why, but I had a vision of instead of the canister, the DVD. Like they even went through the effort of getting it a home video release already. And they're just like, take this with you.
Oh God, yeah. I wonder if you think he kicked himself over that? I think he was like, I shouldn't have fucking said that.
Maybe I probably at the time.
Yeah, I'm not now, but like at the time, at like in that limbo between MGM and Lionsgate, he was like, "Why did I say that? God damn it, why did I say that?"
Can you imagine him going home to Sherry that day? She's like, "So did what does MGM do good?" He's like, "About that." They may have overheard a joke I said, and they're not distributing the movie anymore. She's just like, what did you say, Rob? What did you say?
Oh my God. Yeah, you can't, unless you're the guy who owns the studio, you can't joke about anything in Hollywood because someone's going to think it's serious and that's going to ruin some careers. It's a bunch of petty, fickle assholes playing dress up that we happen to really enjoy the work of.
Can you imagine that executive? The executive, he's just like, he goes to his place, he goes, you guys won't believe what I just had to do. Some punk, long dreads, beard, tatted, sitting there saying how more we are. I kicked him in his movie out of here.
The executive who made the deal was sitting there thinking, like, that sounds like Rob.
It sounds like
I got a phone call today.
Anyone seen hold on.
I like to picture, like, instead of being like proud of it, the exec comes in like nearing tears and being like, "You're not gonna believe what I heard somebody say about this studio. We were a moral company, goddammit, and I'm gonna prove it." Oh god, this whole thing, this makes less sense than the Universal shit. Just they destroyed an entire deal over a little, like, not even that bad of a joke.
Yeah.
Just, well, you must be pretty immoral for making this movie. What? Like, are you kidding me? Oh, Jesus.
I don't. This isn't that James Bond. I forget which one it was we watched. One of the one he goes, Christ.
Yeah, I think that's the world is not enough. Yeah, I remember that.
I just imagine the guy being like that as soon as he heard the joke, just Christ.
I wonder if he said it, like, do you think he like internalized it and then walked up to the head office and was like, we got to get rid of Rob Zombie? Or do you think he confronted him right there? He's like, what did you just say?
Both.
Oh,
as someone who's in a certain branch of the military, both. He was like, how dare you? I'm talking to my supervisor. Just like stormed off. It's like, you won't believe the shenanigans. Because yeah, remember, he doesn't cuss. They're a more studio. That was said about us. That we are immoral. Who hired this Rob Zombie? Who did it?
Just the film snob in me is coming out here. Louis B. Mayer was no saint. Let me just say that. He was a piece of shit who manipulated and abused quite a lot of people. There is no moral ground for MGM to stand on.
If we're being honest, Hollywood can shove its morality up its ass because it is a long history of not being more. And still to this day, the fact that the way they are acting, some of them are acting, post the Me Too movement and all that stuff. It's like some things just haven't changed.
Hollywood was built on a foundation of shattered egos, broken dreams, and abuse. Let's not forget that. Let's be very clear about what this whole industry is. Movies are made with blood. So let's just enjoy what we get, but never forget that.
Yes. Remember that the mob at one point was involved in the filmmaking industry. The mob.
Yeah. So Rob Zombie can make his little joke about an immoral company because, frankly, he could have said much worse and he would have been in the right.
Considering he has no controversy and seems to love his wife very much, and they have consensual, probably lovely sex. I don't know. I don't want to know.
Their role play game must be unfucking rivaled. Like, seriously. I bet they have the craziest fucking sex. Anyway, just had to get that out. Okay. So MGM backed away. Zombies still trying to sell this thing. And who should stumble upon it but fledgling studio at the time, Lionsgate Entertainment, who wanted to venture into new types of films. They were like, you know what? We want to experiment. And if anybody loves to experiment, I bet it's Rob Zombie.
You know what? We did Saw. We're getting ready to do things like Saw on this. Let's experiment.
Yeah. And Zombie had to recut the film from NC-17 to a hard R, so Lionsgate would feel comfortable releasing the film. But guess what Lionsgate did? Gave him the fucking chance to do that.
It's interesting. Lionsgate went, oh yeah, it's NC-17. Let's just recut it. We'll resubmit it. We'll get the R rating. No problem.
Ooh, that's too much for us. Why don't we trim that down? Bring it back. Not get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I think Rob Zombie was like really defensive at first, like a wounded dog.
No, I think once he actually had the opportunity to do something, he was like, okay, I'll do that. And I think he was holding back tears, being like, finally, somebody understands me.
I hope they knew him like in the editing room, just bawling. Just cut that part. Just cut it.
Sherry's right next to him with a tissue, just like, I got you, Rob. I got you.
The editor's like, is he okay? Yeah, no, he's not sad that we're cutting it. He said that it's even happening. It's fine. Yeah, it just cut about like 5 seconds from that.
Happy tears. It's happy tears. Well, yeah. So that's what happened. House got trimmed down to an R. Lionsgate released it. Bob's Your Uncle, Rob Zombie became a horror director.
It
And
finally came out.
every film he's had since had similar problems. So he never got over the hump. He's been fighting the hump for 20 years.
Shouldn't laugh, but just the most of the time the story is, and he rode off into the sunset. People will take him more seriously as a director, and instead and he has continued to have this happen every goddamn film that's come out.
It's fucking sad, but it's true. He can't get a break. Every time there's a roadblock, there's a fan outcry, there's a lack of funds, there's a studio who doesn't want to do anything about it every single time. It's fucking nuts. Oh. Yeah, I didn't anticipate this one being so goddamn funny.
Oh, me neither. That's a good thing for the content of the movie.
Yeah. House of 1,000 Corpses
God.
has an IMDb score of 6.0. Kind of figured that. Rotten Tomatoes score of 20%. So after all that, the critics were like, oh, this is garbage. Like, after all that, even he could, there was nothing like I imagine the rap party just being like, people are gonna love this, and then Rob reads the reviews and he's just like, fuck.
God damn it.
Like, there is no light at the end of this tunnel in any possible configuration, no matter where you look at it. It's just more problems. Oh, God. All right. Critics' consensus of House of 1,000 Corpses reads. And I think you're going to love this. This is what the critics' consensus of Rotten Tomatoes, this is what they say.
I didn't bother to look this up, so this is going to be new for me, so hit me with it.
It's one sentence. There's an abundance of gore in this derivative horror movie, but little sense or wit. Rob Zombie's gory horror film is too gory and is not that smart. Like, I don't even know why I'm here.
What the fuck does that even mean? You up your ass pricks. Oh my God. The film that he meant that was originally NC-17. He wanted to be weird. He wanted to be brutal. He wanted to be out there. It's too gory.
I actually didn't think this was that gory. Compared to other shit I've seen, I was like, no, he clearly had a budget. Like, that's what I was thinking of more than anything. Like, yeah, he had to. He was pulling his empty pockets out a few times.
Damn it! I would argue Devil's Rejects goes harder. I think if anything, what may have thrown people, especially critics, is that admittedly, like this is and I'm putting on my notes, this is a very stylistic film. Very stylistic.
Yeah.
It has, transitions that make more sense. At least they've made more sense to me the more times I've watched. But at first you're like, oh my God, it's just an assault on you, from beginning to end, and and it fits the time period it came out, and that, the early 2000s, due to, obviously 9/11, you had a lot of nihilistic, very pessimistic horror films coming, like very dark. And this film, this and Devil's Rejects established that if you cross paths with this family, there's no happy ending. There's no getting out alive. There's no maybe. There's no possibility. You're fucked. And Zombie exemplifies that throughout this movie. And, I can see why that can be off-putting, but how they worded that, what? And as far as I think you said there's no wit, and what was it they said was lacking? What else?
They said little sense or wit.
Okay. Again, I would actually argue there is sense, because the actual story outside the transitions does flow. Like, I know what's happening. Again, the transitions, yes, you kind of have to watch it a couple times to get, but like the actual bulk of the story does make sense. Like, I'm not confused. I'm like, oh, who's this? Like, it, you know what I mean? As far as the wit, I would actually argue there's some very dark humor throughout this film that makes me chuckle. Especially from good old Sid Haig as Captain Spaulding. So I would argue there is wit. I'm actually personally, just me personally, I'm kind of against what they're saying. I think they missed the mark.
Yeah, I think so too. But I just realized the Devil's Rejects. So they're a family who lures people in with their good natured charm and proceeds to fuck them over royally and destroy their hopes and dreams. Does that sound familiar to you?
Huh.
That's Rob Zombie in Universal right there. The Devil's Rejects is about that.
Is this a cry for help?
No, it's revenge.
You think he
God
was
damn.
just staring at the Universal executives like, yeah, that's you.
He calls a meeting. They don't let him in the door. He's just, oh, don't worry, I don't need to go up there. Can you just tell them that I've got a sequel lined up, and it's gonna be big. So I'll see you at the red carpet, assholes. um,
Yeah.
this is so, despite complete critical disdain, House of a Thousand Corpses would be a modest hit, grossing nearly 17 million on a $7 million budget. It spawned two sequels, jump-started Zombie's career as a filmmaker, and has become a grisly cult classic. So he had, as always, he pretty much has the last laugh.
Yeah. I mean, most people, even the ardent fucking zombie haters will always point to Devil's Rejects and this one, House of Corpses, as his like two masterpiece films. Like these are very beloved. That's why, again, I don't know if I've said before, but you shouldn't talk shit on him all day, but he left his mark with his first two films. He left his legacy in horror with this and Devil's Rejects. And that's not getting taken from him.
Not a lot of first-time directors can get brutally fucked over by two major studios and then manage to get that movie released and have it be a hit anyway. That's admirable. I want to, like you said, I want to see the movie about this. This is a crazy story.
It is. I didn't realize. Maybe if they ever get that. I know they announced it, but the biography movie they want to do on the making of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Maybe if that gets off the ground as a hit, we'll see more adventurous biographies than these standard ones we keep getting them kind of sick of. I know you're a biography man. I know, but I'm just asking for more variety.
I'm with you, man. The music biopic trend we've been in for a few years now is getting stale. It's always the same story. It's always the same beats. Like, I get it. So and so was raised poor. So and so got famous. So and so had a drug problem. So and so lost someone close to them. So and so got over it. So and so has their career resurgence. I got it. Like, stop it. It's always the same fucking movie. We're gonna see it again with Whitney Houston in December. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like some different stories. I agree with you. Yeah. And I'm hoping the Texas Chainsaw story, if that ever gets made, does open the floodgates, because that would be fun.
It would be. I was hoping it would Dolomite is my name, because that was different. I was like, here. I was engaged. Not only one, because fucking finally a good Eddie Murphy movie after God knows how fucking long.
Yeah.
Well, because it was engaging. It was about this film, the little film that shouldn't but could, and it was it's a huge film and exploitation cinema, black exploitation cinema, I should say. It's a huge film from Rudy Ray Moore, and I was hoping that would open the floodgate, and apparently it did it. And as we know, Eddie Murphy got snubbed. God damn it.
Picture this. The year is 2025. Rob Zombie decides to tell his story. He writes a screenplay about the time he got dicked around by Universal. It becomes a huge indie hit. It wins the Cannes Award. He starts getting actual award attention. He wins Best Director. He goes up there in jeans and a goddamn cowboy hat and just, accepts an award on behalf of the horror community, and he becomes Academy Award winner Rob Zombie.
Even the horror fans would be so goddamn pissed. But God damn it, why Rob Zombie?
No, at that point, they'd all be screaming like, "You fucking sold out, Rob!" Like he still couldn't win.
I love just who goes on just the first thing out of his mouth. Fuck you, Universal, and then he just sits back down.
Like, Sherry, I love you. Universal, go fuck yourselves. Oh, it could happen. Yeah, but in the meantime, we got this crazy story. So let's talk a bit about the movie itself. Let's go into some highlights of House of a Thousand Corpses. Frankly, it's not going to live up to the fucking wild ass story we've gotten to tell here.
No,
it's still not bad.
No, and luckily I'm a massive fan, so I'll try to get my love for it to shine through. It won't match what we just talked about, but if you're talking, I'd say let's start that for me the beginning scene, that whole opening at the gas station is fucking just a great fucking way to set the tone for this film.
Yeah, Captain Spaulding and Michael J. Pollard from Bonnie and Clyde are just chatting about like sticking toys up asses and whatnot. I didn't know Captain Spaulding sold chicken. Apparently, that's a big part of his whole thing.
Yeah. Actually, so fun little fact: one of my hoodies broke. Like the zipper part, like fucking just came off, and I was like, "Fuck!" So I went looking a new one, and I got one that's Captain Spaulding's famous chicken and murder ride. I ordered that. I'm waiting for it to come in, but I'm very excited.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love it because you get like, a quick little hint of who Captain Spaulding is, or before the rug gets pulled out throughout the movie of what he is. But again, this is just Sid Haig's chance to shine. Like, if you look at Sid Haig's career, this movie and this and Devil's Rejects was like considered his rejuvenation. And he just got even, he just became bigger than he already was, and obviously in the horror community. For me, it was, again, for those who are older, don't come at me. Remember, I'm only about to be 30 this year. This was my intro to Sid Haig. Was watching this and seeing Captain Spaulding again. One of the reasons I'm so like, there's such a personal attachment to this movie for me. For these first two films. Because this was my intro to Sid Haig, and man, what an intro! Like watching this and just his dialogue, how he delivers it, like. You can make your complaints about zombies dialogue all fucking day. I don't care anymore at this goddamn point. But some of these actors just know how to make it work and deliver. And Sid Haig is one of those. Like everything. I mean, this is the thing I always want. I'm like, fuck your mother, fuck your sister, fuck your grandma, and most of all, fuck you.
I love that. Like that's when he's got a loaded gun in his face from some assholes who are trying to rob him. He's just like, "Do you know who you're fucking with right now?" Like he's not even phased. He's like, I'm gonna eat all of you." Like he's just completely fucking wild and crazy.
I love when you see his smile just fade. That fucking look he gives people when it just fades, and you're like, "Oh shit, there's something terrifying underneath that."
I saw that same thing in Hatchet 3, I think it was. It's like that's just the Sid Haig look. Like he does that. It's like smiles, and then all of a sudden, nope, you're dealing with a maniac.
Sorry, I'm just thinking Hatchet 3 now.
I know.
God.
It's the one movie quote we can't fucking say.
I know.
Look up Hatchet 3, watch it. You'll know what we're talking about.
I'm just gonna say it's funny. The way he delivers is funny. Yeah. This is just great. Yeah, but I can speak about it. I don't know how do you feel about this? I love this opening scene. I can go on about it all day.
Oh, I love how this movie kind of doesn't really clue you in on what Captain Spaulding is. Like if you've seen The Devil's Rejects, he's like the head of this family. But in this movie, he's just the weirdo horror guy down the road who gave them directions to a tree. Like you don't know how involved he is in this, and he would keep coming back to him because he's like the only counterpoint these kids have had, and or encounter, yeah, and he just keeps like dicking people around. I love it. I love the shit he says. Like when he's like twirls his bow tie and goes like yak 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 or whatever that was. Like that was funny.
Oh yeah, the little noise he makes. Yeah, I like when he's like antagonizing the cops when they're trying to ask about it. And he's like, I like them a little chubby, a little more pushing for the cushion. You know what I mean? I'm like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, when he yelled something like, what was it? It was like when the cops ring the bell. It's like whoever's ringing that bell better back the fuck up or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, what is the line?
He's before I show my or something like that. I like when he shoots guys like, what goddamn motherfucker got blood on my best goddamn motherfucking clown suit.
He's so over the top. It's great.
Great.
No.
I don't know, even when he finally is like playing ball with the cops and he's just like, I don't know, man. It's just a bunch of dumbass teenagers, a bunch of dumbass questions about Dr. saying shit. All right. I know they went to the tree. I drew them a map.
He's just, I love that he's like that's his whole thing is just like I don't care. Like I'm murdering people for entertainment with my family. Like what could you possibly do to make my day more interesting? Like he doesn't care.
No, he does not.
Awesome. I love when we meet our heroes, fucking Dwight Schrute and the guy who hosts the Talking Dead. Did not expect that.
I think about that every time I watch. I'm like, oh yeah.
And they're like horror movie aficionados, and they're talking to Captain Spaulding, and they're like, excited about all things creepy, and they're asking him questions, and he just goes, "Let me ask you something. How come you're asking me so many jackassy questions?" Like, he's just like, "Are you fucking with me? Why are you fucking with me?"
Yeah. Oh, I love how he fucks with them. And he starts getting like creepy and scary on them. They're like,
Yeah, they immediately like, "Oh God, we put like they're just thinking deliverance, deliverance." Like they're just freaking out.
and let me find. He goes, I'm just fucking with y'all.
I also love. I don't know why Zombie did this, but Jerry, the Chris Hardwick's character, his last name is Goldsmith. Jerry Goldsmith, famous film composer, like did the Omen, Poltergeist, I think, did the Mummy, like just a cool nod, but like weird nod. I think that was on purpose. It had to be on purpose.
It had to be. I do like when he takes them through the murder ride.
Yeah.
Egg, man. Again, the guy is wonderful in both these movies. And even honestly, the one, R.I.P., the one scene we were able to get with him and Three from Hell was worth it. And his line, I'm the clown you guys wanted. And like just
well, you can tell like how much fun he had doing this, like how much he appreciated this, because he was dying. He could have just said, like, I don't have time, I can't do it. But he fucking did it. He was like, I'm gonna be Captain Spaulding one more time for Rob Zombie and for the people who want to see this movie.
Yeah.
Like fucking yeah, hell yeah. Rest in peace, Sid Haig, man.
Absolutely, yeah. Rest in peace. I mean, you could tell he loved this character. When it came to that, I think it was very much like, hey, I think it was a mixture of like love for the character, obviously, his friendship with Rob Zombie, and just the fact that like he has credited very much House Corpses Those Rejects as his rejuvenation. I mean, he was very open about that, like, yeah, to help rejuvenate my career. Because a lot of young fans like me discovering him through the movie. And but yeah, the murder sequence when he is like delivering, telling them all the different murders, man, like that's probably my favorite. That might be outside the opening scene my favorite portion of his performance. It's really hard for me because he just commands the screen anytime he's on it. Like he's so goddamn good.
Yeah, and thanks to Dan Cummins' podcast Time Suck, like I know all about Albert Fish and Ed Gein, so I had these like flashback moments of like I remember that those guys are really fucked up, and yeah, it was a cool little thing. I like when the one guy like raises his hand and he's like, "Hold all questions," and just
I like when he like gets excited. He's like, "Keep your hands in the carriage." Sorry, Captain Spaulding.
Oh yeah, that was cool. I like his constant references to John Wayne. When he said like, "How long ago was that?" Yeah, that was right after Duke nabbed the Oscar. Like, I remember that.
Yeah, he's like, "Wait, the Duke? Well, hell, son, the only Duke worth talking about. How many other Dukes you know?"
And then later on with the cops, he's like, "All right, don't get all True Grit on me.
Don't get all True Grit on my ass."
Oh yeah, it's great. It's like two separate movies. There's like the Captain Spaulding movie, and then there's the Firefly movie. Yeah, but when we meet, go ahead.
No, sorry, I was about to say, I swear to God, if we ever get to the point in my lifetime where they remake this, because I'm at this point, it's always a matter of when as opposed to if. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I challenge anyone to try to even take on the mantle of this. The best you can do is try your own thing and hope to God it works.
I remember reading that Sid Haig beat out two other actors who were considered for the role. Yeah, John Polito, which would have been interesting. Fucking DeFino from The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
And Red West, who I don't know who he is.
I recognize.
But Sid Haig, obviously, he's Captain Spaulding. But John Polito, I think, would have been an interesting, like, Italian Captain Spaulding.
Yeah. Well, see, because Sid Haig works, and especially because I'm pretty sure this film takes place in like Southwest Texas.
1977, Southwest Texas.
Yeah, so it's like Sid Haig just works a lot better with the setting and the rest of the family he was cast for. It just gels a lot, especially in the sequel. It gels a lot more. And I mean, it's just one of those that we always talk about with certain superhero characters, right? Like no one can play Wolverine but Hugh Jackman. Granted, MC's about to test that statement on us, whether we want it to be tested or not. I do, obviously we have that with horror and things like Chucky and Freddy Krueger. I think more people need to talk about Captain Spaulding. I really just can't. He has made in just 2 films and a scene in the third, this character so much him that I cannot see anyone else taking on this role down the line. Like, he just owns it. He owns the character. He owns the scene anytime he's on it. I seriously could just go all day to talk about Sid Haig alone as Captain Spaulding. I fucking love him. Captain Spaulding.
He is the best part about this movie. He really is. Every time I go back to the Firefly family, I'm focused, but I'm also like, I wonder what Captain Spaulding's doing right now. I want to hear him piss off more cops. So they pick up Baby. These horror dudes should know, don't pick up a hitchhiker, but this is the 70s and she's hot, so there it is.
70s, it's Cherry Moon Zombie. They're like, yep, we're doing it.
I love it later on, like Denise, like one of the guy's girlfriends, like pushes her off. Her boyfriend's like, get off him, whore. Like, wow.
Yeah. Well, then she escalates the moment, like, I'll cut your tits off. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, the family's like, whoa, you better leave. Like,
you need to leave.
They keep, like, again, just fucking with everybody. Like, they have so many moments to just pounce, but they don't because they're enjoying the ride.
Yeah, they're truly a sadistic family, and as we get more into it, I do like a lot of they're brief scenes, but the few scenes we get of kind of seeing them throughout the day beyond the torture of like how they interact with each other, to me, it's like fascinating personally.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I hope that they actually do fix the car, only to just kidnap them immediately.
They really like teasing out hope to them.
They really do. It's part of the game. But when the car, like, they come at the car with the baseball bats and the scarecrows like come off the things and start attacking everybody, that was pretty freaky. I didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah, it's freaky. And what I like is that it happens after we've had like the part where, they're in the house and they meet the family members. Bill Moseley makes his entrance as Otis, which I like Bill Moseley a lot as Otis in this film. I prefer him in Devil's Rejects only because it's less of him doing whatever they're trying to do of fighting, I guess, like whatever American Ideal he was fighting in this movie. And he's just more like fucking psycho crazy. Just you do not want to fuck with Otis in Devil's Rejects. But he's still really good because it's Bill Moseley. The guy just again, he's like said, hey, he knows how to fucking draw you in, especially when it comes to a psycho character. But it's just great because you meet all of them, and then that scarecrow scene, it's already free. It is a freaky scene, like you said, but then he takes it off, and you're like, holy shit, it's Otis. I mean, granted, we got the hints that like, yeah, things aren't right, but just like seeing on their face, like they're like, oh God, no.
The whole time I saw Bill Moseley, I just kept thinking of my favorite line from Texas Chainsaw 2, which was "Lick my plate, you dog dick." I kept hearing that on an echo, like on a loop in my head. So our first torture scene where Bill is in the basement, he's being turned into Fish Boy. Brick House by the Commodores is playing. I thought that was such an odd choice, but it worked. And then later in the end credits, we get a Rob Zombie cover of Brick House with Lionel Richie, which is like, of course, that's the coolest thing in this movie.
Yeah, she's a brick house.
That was one of my favorite songs when I was a kid, and because I was a dumb child, I thought he was singing about a literal brick house. Like, I didn't know that's how that you could describe a woman as a brick house. I didn't know that at the time. So I was like, this sounds like a comfortable place to live.
Oh,
I was just like, this house sounds great.
For some men, it is a comfortable place to live.
I got you there.
if it helps you, I'll go on and admit that because I was a dumbass kid, I did not when I first heard Jerry Pie by Warrant. As I was a dumbass kid and went, wow, they really like cherry pie. And then I got to and went, oh, they
Well,
like a different kind of cherry pie.
it would be weird if, as a child, you're immediately like, "Oh, he's singing about how much he loves pussy." I get it. Like, that would be weird. So you did
It
the
makes
right thing.
sense. Yeah. And the video just shows cherry pie. Granted, there's also a really hot lady in the video. I'm just going, man, they really like these guys really like pie. I don't know why they like pie so much. I got over and went, oh my god.
Oh, that's good. That's great.
Yeah. I do before we get to the torture scene onward, I do like how in the process this family fucking with them, the process to do that is to just bring in more of the family members. And I love seeing our main characters' reactions as they're just slowly realizing what the fuck did we just get ourselves into with like Baby at first, and then Karen Black, who was like basically an older version of Baby, just trying to come off like she wants to sleep with one of the dudes. Granted, it's kind of hinted at in Devil's Rejects, like yes, their mom's a massive whore. Um, but you have that going on. Tiny shows up and they're just like, what the hell going on? And then Hugo, grandpa, with his dirty ass jokes.
Yeah, it is weird how it turns into like open mic night.
It is. I did have a good chuckle. Again, the wit that the critics didn't seem to understand. When they have to wear the mask at dinner, and even for a split second, you see the human side of Hugo, not the I'm going to fuck these guys up side later. It's hey, put on your damn mask, or she won't let us have dessert. I just laugh at it. Like such an old man be like, God damn it, do it so I can have some dessert.
Yeah, that was funny. Uh, I like when Spaulding and the cops interact. I Walton Goggins in this movie. He went on to be one of my favorite actors, and yeah, just constantly antagonizing Spaulding because he's like, "You fucking dumbass clown! I don't respect you." And Spaulding's like, "You're a fucking pig. I don't respect you." There's
Yeah.
this
And again, I love how at first it's playful, but then eventually you just see the spawn said, "Hey, do that thing where he just kind of looks at them." And he even does like if you can have a sound bar, you can hear it. He has like a little kind of growl, like he's like becomes animal. Then like I'm going to fucking kill you if you keep it up. I don't care if you're cops.
one of my favorite moments because it was so genuine was early on in the movie when Spaulding draws the map for Jerry, and he's just like, "Here's your map. Here's your complimentary chicken. Have a nice drive." He was just so like, "Hope you enjoyed the show." This is not the Spaulding I saw in the Devil's Rejects.
No, no. It's so different. That's a Spalding that I think business has ceased, and now he's just like, "Fuck it, I'm done."
Yeah. Like I remember like the scene that like I remember the most from the Devil's Rejects is when he's like he sees that kid and he's like, "What? You never seen a clown before?" or something like that.
Such a great scene. You don't come back, and when I come back, you don't have a reason for why clowns aren't fucking funny to you.
One thing that made me
aren't we fucking funny?
Yeah, we're gonna have to do the Devil's Rejects sometime next year just for kicks.
Yes.
Uh,
also, sorry, real quick. One of the cops is Tom Towles, horror luminary. For those who don't know, he was Otis in Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Oh shit! Okay, wow.
Yeah,
I still haven't watched that. I'm intimidated.
It's a really good movie. Very grimy, dirty movie. So yeah, the main cop with the one with the stash, obviously not watching Goggins.
Yeah.
That it's like cut the shit Spotting, and
Yeah.
That's Tom Towles. So that's kind of cool. A guy who's played Otis is talking to a character named Otis.
That's cool. Yeah, Zombie's clearly a lifelong horror fan who drops all sorts of meta references into his work, and it's cool when you get them. I love Tiny's shirt that said cheap ass Halloween costume. I want to get that shirt.
Oh yeah. Again, here's some wit for y'all, for your critics. I like in this scene when Tiny lets her go. Yeah. because she won't eat the food. So he's like, okay, just go. I don't give a shit. Sometimes like very like just like I don't really care what goes on in this house. I'm just helping because I'm big. I got nothing else going on.
He's way smarter than everyone seems to think.
Yeah. I love when she's like, I'm gonna go now and just go, where the fuck do you think you're going? And like throws her in. And but what I again the wit that I'm talking about is when he just looks at Tiny and Tiny just goes like does the shrug.
Like, I don't give a fuck. He
I
just
don't
keeps
care.
eating his Captain Crunch, whatever.
What I
Yeah,
love is like even what I love is that as you see this family dynamic, this family, you do see them bicker a lot. But if there's one thing between this film and also Devil's Rejects that if there's one person they never bicker with at all, and they seem to generally just love, it's Tiny. Because even Otis just kind of looks at him but doesn't say anything. He's like, it's Otis, I'm just gonna leave it. Or it's Tiny, I'm just gonna leave it.
yeah. I love when they're watching the Munsters, like with the Dragula car. It's like, come on,
Yeah.
it's a portent.
Yeah. Well, I like it. You see them having this again, that subversion of like the American trope, right? They're sitting there having a family moment of like, hey, let's watch some TV together. As he's throwing fucking shit at one of this fucking main characters to torture, just throwing knives at them.
Yeah, they shave uh Jerry's head and like start like skinning his head open. Eventually ends up on like Dr. Satan's operating table and they're just like fucking with his brain.
God, that is a rough thing when she's like, all right, let's play a game. What's my favorite actress? And I'm like, oh, you fuck, because no one's ever gonna get that right.
Ugh. I was not expecting Willis and the cops to get shot to death. That was an interesting scene, especially
I
Willis, because then he gets, his face ripped off.
Oh god, dude, that whole scene. I love when like Karen Black runs up and she's like, Otis, the pigs are here. And I love, I'll take care of it like I always fucking do. And Hugo just flicks them off. Just keeps eating and watching the monsters. And yeah, I like how they have this plan of like, okay, you get this cop inside, you distract him, we'll worry about the other two. We got this. And yeah, the way Zombie does this with like the song playing again, that like Ken does it like with Brick House. He has a way offbeat song to go with this, and you see Tom Towles get shot, and the dad gets killed. The way the camera zooms out as he's holding the gun to Wong Goggins, and that's just uncomfortable. I think it's like almost 30 seconds, just nothing, and you're just sitting there going, "Oh my god, is he gonna pull the trigger?" And then he finally does it.
Yeah, drawing that shit. I thought my internet connection had stopped. I was like, shit, did it freeze? And then the gunshot happened, and I'm like, oh no, that was an aesthetic choice. That's what an
I
auteur
mean,
does, everybody.
that's what Arturo does. Universal. Um,
You had him and you lost him, and that's on you.
yeah, same MGM. Uh, but I do. That is a pretty horrific sight they open the damn shed to. Even I was like, holy shit. I like I said, there's that quick reference to the missing cheerleaders on the news where they're like, hey, they're still looking for the 5 missing. And they quickly show you, oh, this is where they're at. They got captured by this family and are getting horrendously tortured. And as we established in Devil's Rejects, Otis is a necrophiliac. So there's that going on too.
Uh, so they skin Willis. They put Otis puts his face on and goes to see Willis's daughter. Like, holy shit. And says to her a really unsettling line: "The boogeyman is real, and you found him." Like, fuck, man. To hear that from somebody who's about to kill you.
Dude, he has this line in this one. And then in the sequel, he has the line, I am the devil and I'm here to do the devil's. Like, Otis has some fucking sick lines before he kills you.
Yeah, he's clearly, Manson family inspired. He's got that, fuck the system anarchy in him, along with, necrophilia and just basic sadism.
Yeah. This guy is loves to torture and kill people.
One thing that I found obnoxious, but you're supposed to, is babies laugh. Like, God. The worst laugh I've ever heard.
Sherry Mizami has a very high pitched laugh, or at
Oh,
least she knows how to do. I doubt she actually laughs like that all the time. No offense, Rob, that would grate on my nerves. Perhaps I mean listen to this, but I'm sure that's like very much like overdone for the character.
Rob Zombie does listen to this. I think he's really gonna like you. I don't think he's gonna like me that much, but I can accept that because I love you, Rob.
Oh god, can you imagine if we like Rob Zombie retweet someone and be like, oh my god.
It's like,
But
well, I hope he listened to a bit of it. I hope he listened to the right bit.
no, yeah, I'm sure I'm sure Sherry Muzami's laugh is like heisty. Kind of like how, I only remember this my mom used to watch all the time. But Fran Dresser used to like heighten her fucking voice for the nanny.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, that she really sounds like, actually no, she heightened the shit out of that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure she does the same thing for the character, or she did the same thing for the character, I should say.
I love the pussy liquor scene. It's so weird and unnecessary. And you got that weird goober dude. Like, I love to get fucked up, dude. It's so weird and surreal, that bit.
Yeah, it's so weird, and I love how like Rufus RJ goes with them. I like how RJ's like the silent man of the family. Like he's just like they were tiny. He's like I just help out. I just help out when they need me.
I just drive the tow truck and fix the cars. That's all I do.
I'm a simple man.
Some things in life you just got to do. Don't mean you got to like it. So we get a fucking bleak ass ending. Denise gets away. Captain Spaulding picks her up and it's like, you gotta go to the hospital, girl. I'll get you there. Don't worry, I'll get you there. And then Otis just Nosferatu's his way up in the back seat. And you're just like, oh shit, Spaulding's in on this. And then we see Denise just get drilled. It's like, fuck, okay, I guess we're done.
Yep. No one again, but again, he goes over he was setting out to do, which was to make a film that, and again, that's probably what I like is that as much as it sucks, as much, obviously we want our happy ending, I should say, not that it sucks. We want our happy ending. We want thing. Unfortunately, the case is every so often, especially in real life, that's not what happens, right? Like when you're dealing with people like this, like in The Strangers or something like this, they're not generally going to let you go. These are people that live off of just the enjoyment of the torture and killing of other humans. The people Zombie was inspired to kind of base all these characters off of. It fits the way it's doing. As bleak as fucking nihilistic as it is, it works for the movie. It makes sense, and it is a good like twist where you're like the whole time, because the whole time you're wondering like, why do I care so much about this Captain Spaulding character? Other than said, hey, it's fucking phenomenal. But you're like, how's this tied into the rest of it? And then there's that twist, you're like, oh shit, he is part of the family. So he's purposely sending people there. But before that, I do like the extended underground climax scene we get, and the fact that at least in this film, again, I would have loved if there's one gripe I have overall with this show, she said I would really like to see more Dr. Satan, is that we see Dr. Satan, and boy howdy, what a fucking scene. She opens it to that underground like fucking ward he has, and he's just all hooked up working on Jerry and shit. Jerry got to see Dr. Satan finally, not the way he wanted to. And then he has like that weird henchman, Tiny's father, as it's established earlier in the film, just barrel through, and you're like, what the fuck? I remember the first time watching this movie and getting to this end scene and just going, what the hell is going on now?
Yeah, that was my vibe the whole time, pretty much. But I didn't hate it. I know you were expecting me to hate it. I know you expect me to hate a lot of these movies.
I do. I'm just preparing for disappointment because you always find a way to disappoint me.
Ouch. Wow. I'm not Universal. I'm not MGM. I'm not trying to tear you down. Oh.
I'm Lionsgate. I'm edgy. I'm trying new things.
I am. I don't refuse to watch anything. I'm trying this shit. I might not like it every time, but I'm trying. It's content. Here are some Filmgazm facts for House of a Thousand Corpses. Number one, Rob Zombie said how amongst the footage that was weird. All right, I don't weird typo. Rob Zombie said that amongst the footage was in his famous lost rough cut of the film were some really fucked up scenes. He had to cut this quite substantially for an R rating because NC-17 doesn't fly unless you're a weird Marilyn Monroe biopic on Netflix.
Or Terrifier 2 that's getting a third weekend out release, and actually it's unrated. So,
ooh, oh, all right. Maybe he just needed to wait 20 years. So there were a lot more violent and disturbing scenes with Baby, ones that showed off her necrophilia tendencies. Apparently, the whole family's in on that shit. There's a scene in the film where she's kissing a skeleton and touching her breasts with its hand. And that was like a brief little, transition segment, but it was much longer and much more graphic and ended with her climaxing.
Jesus, Rob.
Yeah, this was his girlfriend at the time, and that was pitching that. I mean, you can pitch that to your wife, but to your girlfriend?
And her. Damn, that relationship was strong even at that point in the relationship. Like,
what if that was the moment? What if, like, when she said, "No problem, Rob, I got you," he was like, "I think she's the one."
I can't imagine pitching that. Like, so look, because then the other question is, I'm assuming it's all unsimulated. I'm assuming she's not actually performing this in front of the camera, but
no, that would be insane. No way. Well, Rob Zombie's telling his girlfriend to get off with a skeleton in real time.
Well, we have people like Marilyn Manson who found a way to do unsimulated sex scene for a music video that's now being part of the court case coming up.
But this is Rob Zombie, who's a normal person who likes to make fake horror things.
This is true. He knows that there's a thing called fake and consensual. But yeah, I can't imagine like trying to pitch like, okay, so listen, babe, listen. So you're like a cannibal, right, in this movie? And there's gonna be a scene where you're playing with a skeleton, you're gonna be naked, I'm not hiding anything. It's all being shown. But after this film, no one's ever seen you naked but me. It's always a fun little fact. If you watch all his films, you'll notice.
You think he started that conversation with, "Look, I love you, babe." To sell that scene, he'd be like, "All right,
yeah. Look, I love you, but hey, I need you to get off to your corpse to climax. Film the whole thing." She just went, "Yeah, I got it." Let me say it again. Let me just say it one more time. I don't think you quite grasped what I just said. She said, "No, I got it."
Should I use the femur or should I use the tibia? Oh god.
I have because I watched like the really like long, I think it was like 3 or 4 hour doc on like on his first Halloween movie. They did say they got some insight into like their working relationship from like other actors and stuff. And they said like, they actually do a really good job of like, when they're on set and they're filming, they are, it's director, actor, like they are able to do that and be like, hey, it's work right now, we're professional. And he goes, then it will drop the moment like it's lunch or something, then that drops and they do very much become like, okay, so hey, what are we doing this weekend? Hey, they become husband and wife,
That's sweet. I like that.
Yeah, so they did say it's actually a really good relationship on set where like they are very much like as soon as they're working, but as soon as lunch or something is they are like, hey, are we going to this thing this weekend? Are we going to go see your parents?
I'm just picturing
my niece's birthday because Spider-1 is his brother.
I'm picturing like they break for lunch. She's covered in fake blood and like her hair's all matted and she just looks insane. And she's like, "Are we gonna hit up that vineyard this weekend? Like we thought we might do that." Like just talking about casual shit while she's just completely covered in blood and he's Rob Zombie.
They have like I know I know this because Rob Zombie, for those who don't know, he's the older, I think like half brother to Spider-1, who's frontman for Power Man 5000.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Power Man 5000. And he has a kid, so he's probably sitting there just like, "Oh hey, we got my niece's birthday this weekend. We still got time to do that. We gotta get the gift. Don't forget, we gotta get the gift."
It's weird to me when like people who just seems so insanely adventurous. Talk about normal couple shit. Just I love it. That's a healthy
Yeah.
relationship. Um, Number two, in 2014, Rob Zombie acknowledged the movie's cult following, but admitted that he himself is not very fond of it. Zombie called the film, quote, a calamitous mess. All I see is flaw upon flaw upon flaw upon flaw.
But if he slipped and said universal, flaw upon universal upon flaw, I mean, flaw.
He's just like, this is a universal disaster. He's just like, no, but I mean, I assume he doesn't have a lot of, happy career memories attached to this movie, as we established. So I don't think that helped.
Mm.
But yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it's weird because I know when it first was coming out, I remember there was like him being kind of close, like, hey, yeah, the critics didn't get it, but the fans have latched onto it. And he goes, it makes me really happy that it's becoming like this cult thing that they've embraced. And he was actually for a while pretty positive on it, and the fact that people have latched onto it. And he's like, if this is what people know me by, that's what people know me by. And then like not too long ago, he same what you just read, where he's kind of saying that about it. And it does suck. Obviously, I don't want to, as a fan, I'm like, oh, I don't want to hear him do a John Carpenter and start shitting on his movie. But with that said, like you said, we just going over what we talked about. It's probably not that many fond memories. And he's a director, right? He sees his films in a much different way than us sitting at home watching the end process. So he's probably looking at it on a much more critical light, just going, God, why'd I do that? Oh, I would change that if I had, another shot at it. You know what I mean?
Well, I like that he didn't try to take away what he didn't try to make anybody feel bad for liking it. Like he acknowledged that fans like it, people like it. He's fine with that. All of his negative thoughts were about his own work in the movie. Like he didn't take away from performance or anybody. It's just his own, like, I could have done better, but everyone else is fine, which I like.
Yeah. It's him just being like, to me, it's him being a creator, right? Just saying like, here he is now 20 years later looking at his person when he was just trying to, as we saw, just trying to get this film made. Now, years removed, he's able to look at it and go like, God, yeah, like I was saying, I would have done this differently. Maybe I wouldn't have had this in it. Like he's able to look at it like that. But yeah, like I said, he's not taking away from the fact that, the actors came in and brought their A game, and I'm including Jeremy Zombie for all you damn haters out there. And that, yeah, the fans have embraced this, very much and love it to this day. I love it, so it's like he's not taking that way. Just like you said, he's looking at like a creator, I think, would anything years down the line.
I think most of those haters are just, jealous because they're not a metal god with a hot wife. So
It's probably what it is.
I choose to believe. Number three, the original 105-minute version of the film was screened at a film festival prior to Lionsgate obtaining it. The version briefly leaked online on a peer-to-peer website. However, it was quickly replaced by the screener. It is incredibly rare to find, but the full-length version does exist out there.
I know you're wrong. I'm all about like, the director has their vision, but I'm like, there's a problem, especially with Rob Zombie's recent comments, about what he would change. Those comments, like, man, it's I don't want to say like I wish you would have it because obviously there's so many fucking horror films that with the same fucking story, right? Event Horizon, to name one off the top of my head. There's the infamous, even more gory and in your face cut of the hell scenes. But and fans are like, oh, when are we gonna get that cut? Well, you're not, because those are lost. Like it's legit lost. It did exist and it's lost. They cannot find it. And then the same thing with obviously curses are a big one for people. In this one, I'm like, I would love to see this longer extended. I really fucking would, just because of how much I love this movie. Especially if like I just hope that I can't really explain this, but I'm hoping if the reason we have seen it is because maybe the footage has been lost. That's what I hope, but because I hope it's not just they're sitting on it somewhere. So I'm like, God, if that's the case, can we get like fucking Shout or someone to talk to Rob Zombie or whoever to get the rights so we can get the fucking extended cut of this just to see?
There's one executive at Universal who no longer works for them, but every few days he goes to his vault. He opens the vault and he just looks at the reel of House of a Thousand Corpses, the original reel, and he's just like, someday, and then closes the vault, goes back upstairs. He's got the last copy. But the world's not ready yet until people start taking Zombie seriously as a filmmaker and an artist. No one's seeing that footage. Everyone has to say one nice thing about Rob Zombie, and then we get to see it.
I mean, I've already said many of nice things throughout the years of Rob Zombie.
I would love if he went on Twitter and was like, I have the footage right. I have director's cuts of all of my films. Like, gorier, crazier, more cohesive, and no one gets to see it until everybody apologizes to me.
At that point, I'm going on a warpath. I'll be like, you fuckers apologize. He has it all.
Oh, man. Okay. Let's just briefly mention the sequels, as we always do. The first sequel, widely considered to be Zombie's masterpiece, 2005's The Devil's Rejects, which follows Baby, Otis, and Captain Spaulding as they embark on a killing spree road trip as they flee a vengeful sheriff played by William Forsythe. And turns the tables. The Fireflies are on the defensive this time as Sheriff Forsythe wants them brutally tortured and killed for murdering, I believe, his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the sheriff.
Yeah. The sheriff you see get shot by Karen Black, played by Tom Towles, is the brother to the sheriff we get in the sequel. And that I'm going to keep kind of talking while I look it up because I fucking
Wydell.
Yeah, Wydell, but the actor is something Forsythe. I can never fucking remember off the top of my head. William Forsythe. There we go.
John Forsythe was Charlie in the 70s. William Forsythe, I believe, is his son.
Yes. Thank you. I don't know why it's so hard. I always fucking mind blank. But he's played by William Forsythe, who, oh my God, talk about goddamn. Save it for that one. But he is fucking great as the sheriff on the absolute warpath for basically avenging his brother. Don't worry, Tom Towles does find a way to pop up for at least a scene in Devil's Rejects. I'm not going to ruin how for those who haven't seen it, but I mean it's also kind of quite old film now at this point. But he is fucking great. And then oh God, Devil's Rejects so goddamn good.
We'll do it. We'll definitely do it. The next sequel was 2019's Three from Hell, which followed Otis, Baby, and Otis's half-brother, played by Richard Brake, as they leave prison and embark on a killing spree. Sid Haig was unfortunately dealing with severe health problems that would ultimately claim his life, so his role was substantially reduced, but he does appear in the movie. And people didn't care for Three from Hell. Did not do well. Widely considered a misfire by pretty much everybody. Came and went.
Yeah. And I'm very curious on what the original vision for this was before, obviously, Sid Haig's definitely a huge reason how to get rewritten. But like I said, the one scene he's in, it is very noticeable he's sick. He's not moving. He's sitting down in his one scene. It's noticeable that he's sick, but he is like, you still, even with him being sick, you feel Captain Spaulding. So he's giving it his absolute all in that scene, regardless of how he probably felt. I'm sure he felt like absolute ass. But he gave it his all, and it's a fucking wonderful little moment that we get in that film. I wish I could now then proceed to say nice things about the rest of that film. Richard Brake is always stellar, always good. I've never not like seeing Richard Brake in something. But yeah, and then there was the thing about what's cool about this. What was cool was House Corpse was very much like over the top, excessive, weird, just out there film, and then Devil's Rejects is the complete tonally just opposite. It is gritty, grounded, in your face. So obviously a lot of people had this ideal going in with Three from Hell, myself included. It's a little bit on me, I can admit that, but that, hey, what tone is he going for with this one? And again, I wonder if there was a completely different tone in that original script compared to what we got, but what I ended up getting just felt like a rehashing of Devil's Rejects, but not as engaging. For me, I mean, there's things I like about it was a disappointment for me. It kind of, after watching, I was kind of like, we could have just left it at Devil's Rejects and been fine. But at the same time, I got Sid Haig as Captain Spaulding one last time, and that's something to, as far as I'm concerned, to forever cherish in cinema.
That's good. Yeah. Well, now that I've seen 1 and 2, I'm gonna have to watch 3 at some point just to complete this franchise for my own personal curiosity, and I will do that at some point. As for this one, I give House of a Thousand Corpses a 7. It's fucking weird, makes no sense. It's just plain demented, but it's far from boring, and I will probably watch it again.
Holy shit! What? I I don't know how to proceed. I wasn't expecting. I went into this whole thing thinking he's gonna give it like a fucking 6 or a 5 and be like, it's not something I'm gonna watch. Okay.
No, it's got it. There's a puzzle here that I feel like I only put together. Like I'm only halfway put together here. I want to watch this again to get, now that I know what to expect, now that I know what this is, I can pay a little bit more attention.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. And like I said, I know for me, my biggest thing for years was like the transition scenes, but like the more you watch it, the transitions make sense to me. Like that one guy that's like holding the shotgun going, "This is hell. This is hell." Again, this is just my thing. So I could be completely fucking wrong. Don't think what I'm saying. I am not Rob Zombie. I don't know what he was thinking when he was doing the scene. This is how I'm taking it. That is in reference to the fucking movie we're getting. That yeah, their house on underground, especially when he's pointing underground, is hell. It's hell for anyone who enters. Like you are in hell.
Okay.
So that's just how I took it. But again, right, I could be completely off base. I didn't fucking write the scene. So yeah. But for me, getting off that as far as what I score, I gave it a 9 years gone sight. I'm still sticking with the 9. I'm still sticking with I just adore this film. This is a hell of a debut, especially, taking into account, what he went through to get this out. But he gave us a very memorable set of characters, that have become icons of the genre, very well known parts of horror cinema now. Sid Haig, Captain Spaulding alone. God, so good. Bill fucking Mosley as Otis. And again, I'm going to say it. So all you fucking haters, get ready to get angry. Sherry Moon Zombie as Baby. Fucking just those 3 are great. Even the ones, I know Karen Black did not come back for Devil's Rejects because I believe she asked for too much money, I believe was the issue. But even, her and, Tom Towles, everyone in this movie is just awesome. And if you can get past the nihilism and the extremity and the gore, it's a entertaining in its own way horror film that if you can stomach it, I challenge you to sit down and watch, just maybe not with your kids if they're not ready for something like this.
Yeah, that's true. But again, that's not our job. If you're going to show your kids a Rob Zombie movie and it's not the Munsters, that's on you to deal with the nightmares. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. This was a beefy one. I was not expecting this to be a kind of a magnum opus. Well done.
You gave me a chance to talk about Rob Zombie finally.
If you like the show, you know what to do. Feel free to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Filmgazm Productions. If you want to suggest films for us to check out, you can send us a message on our socials, or you can email us at filmgazm@gmail.com. Check out our website, filmgazm.com, where we have reviews, articles, trailers of upcoming films, and all of our shows. If you want to support the show through Anchor, you can click on Support This Podcast on your preferred provider. We appreciate it. Next week, I'll be in Germany on a family trip, and I've already recorded this next one with Colton, so I won't have to do any overseas podcasting. Planning ahead, something I'm going to be looking into going forward quite a lot. We're going back to Tim Burton to discuss one of his few stone cold horror movies, 1999's Sleepy Hollow, a Halloween staple that has aged like wine. Neurotic Constable Ichabod Crane is sent to a small Dutch town to investigate a series of decapitations that may be the work of a vengeful spirit known as the Headless Horseman. Don't miss a fun romp through Tim Burton's wild visual imagination next week. Also, be sure to check out the basketball podcast, Hooper's Almanac, hosted by Aaron Carter and Mitchell Soul, particularly this week's episode featuring special guests Adam and Austin Johnson, who get a chance to show off their encyclopedic basketball knowledge. You can find Hooper's Almanac on Spotify. Very exciting. Very cool that they got a chance to do this. They love basketball almost as much as they love movies. And, I'm happy for them. Check out their show. Check out the episode. Don't miss Roger Corman's Galaxy of Terror on Fridays Beyond the Bad. and The Bourne Ultimatum on Oscar Sunday with Austin and his brothers. In the meantime, fuck yo mama, fuck yo sister, fuck yo grandma, but most of all, fuck you.